Hey. Um, got something to talk about. Well, anyway, I'm live. I can't answer messages now, but yeah, apparently there's another lawsuit in the Sebastian Rogers case. Filed or stuff going on with his dad with the police. We're going to review what I have of it. I'm working on getting the actual lawsuit, the paperwork. Yeah. These stories just been wild lately, haven't they? Well, let me get to my intro. That probably would have been nice. I got everything loaded and forgot to load the intro because I was making sure I had the other things loaded. Why is everything blue? Bubba, what did you do to my laptop? I love my animals, but sometimes just want to send them to the moon. All right, let me share screen. And I will be right back after the intro. Bubba, do you have to slurp so loud? My goodness. You are loud, dude. All right, be right with you, Misfits.
Home in the valley, home in the city, home isn't pretty, ain't no home for me. Home in the darkness, home on the highway, home isn't my way, home I'll never be. Burning for you. I'm burning for you. Time is the essence. Time is the season. Time ain't no reason. Got no time to show. Time everlasting. Time to play these sides. Time ain't on my side. Time will never know. Burn out the day. Burn out the night. Now I want to tell you what's wrong from what's right. I've seen suns that were freezing and lives that were blue. But I'm burning for you. I'm burning for you. Burn out the day. Burn out the night. Can't see no reason to put up a fight. I'm living forgiven.
You quit being a bully and let that doggy alone. I'm going to send you to the moon one of these days. One of these days, Sir Duke. Hey, everybody. I've got a 30-something pound cat, and I say that with respect because I don't tell his actual weight so he's not embarrassed. Don't want to give him a weight complex. Bullying my 78-pound lap dog.
You're broken down.
Yeah. They're fighting over the bed yet again. I can't wait till we can start streaming back outside. It's just been too hot. Too muggy, too hot. We got something to talk about. Something different for a change. Other than, God, these streets are fucking crazy. Everybody's out talking about everybody. Everybody's talking ish. Ay, 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 ay. And at the end of the day, I'm not in it. Yay. Nope. Anyway, you all know my opinion. I think it's all crazy, and I think everybody's wrong. So, hey, I think there's been points made from everybody and not so many points made from everybody. I think, but hey, whatever. Do you? I don't want parts of it. Hey, 58, how you doing? Hey, Tip. Hey, Emma. There's my cat, 1961. Hey, Sage. It's just crazy, crazy, crazy on these streets. Hey, Robin. Ooh. I'm glad I had to work some today. I got to listen to something a little bit more than normal, but still missed a lot. It is too much. It is too much. I just, hey, Story Talker. I saw the clip where I guess it's Seth's attorney talking, and it made me furious. Oh, 58, thank you for being a member for 10 months. Oh, we're here for you. You can call me anytime. Anytime. I'm always here. I would pick up the phone in a heartbeat. You know that. It's like the YouTube of our lives. It's insane out here. It is. I don't want to see any of the subs get, any of you subs, I don't want to see any, hey, Criminal Med, let them deal with it, I know you are 58. I can say that I get it. I wish I didn't, but I do. What do you want? What are you crying for? You got your way. You got over half of the bed. The dog caved. So now what are you crying for and headbutting me for? Huh? No treats yet. My gosh, I just got started. I don't need to bribe you right away, do I? Huh? No, you're gonna wait a little bit, you little porker. You just ate. He's sitting here trying. Hey, Israeli, how have you been? You was promoted to lieutenant colonel. Oh, you should be very proud. That's awesome. Where have you been? I've been looking for you. It's good to see you. And congratulations. That's awesome. Lots of responsibility. Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, it's for real. It's for real. Yeah. And I think you have to get through Pacer, and I'm not on Pacer. But I know somebody who uses Pacer, and they're gonna get help me out with that. Hopefully, like you know, let me tell you what, these Bics are really hard to light, and I guess because I didn't have one for all those days, it just doesn't do the trick anymore. Maybe I'm just over it. Maybe I can finally quit doing it. Nah. Oh, tomorrow's going to be a crazy day, but let's get into this. I think YouTube's ready for me to get into this. They'd like us to talk for a little bit at first, but let's share screen. And I hear that BJ did end up, which I said last night she would do a late night stream. Hey, T Guzzler. I agree, T Guzzler. I honest, you know what? You can't even put this on Nick, because if you guys remember, not too long ago, you could tell by Nick's post and things he said and the way Seth reacted, things aren't copacetic there, and they have not been in contact. And this is just my opinion, and I could be wrong, but I think that this had a lot to do with the shit go, the so-called separation of Seth and At Night. But I would almost bet who was in Seth's ear about filing this lawsuit. Tony was the whole before he passed, probably nonstop, and bull scoring Betty because she filed hers, and now he's following suit. But I think that maybe this was an issue with At Night, the Twitter page. Um, to me, that's all they are. Sorry. I could be wrong there too, but in my opinion, they're a Twitter page. I've always said that. Um, it could affect. They think maybe it could affect their case, which I don't know how, because it's in appeals. You can't, but it could affect maybe the monetary side of it. I don't know. I don't know what their thinking is, but something tells me, because they weren't happy with the shit BJ was doing. So, but and then Betty don't talk about At Night, and they don't talk about Betty, and Betty went and filed her shit. And you notice they kind of shied away from Tony after he filed his lawsuit after a little bit too. Makes you wonder, huh? It's like this whole fucking group is sue happy. That's all they're about, is let's see who we can sue next. It's insane. It is total insanity. Yeah, I know. For the first time in a long time, I seen that straight talker, and I was like, yeah, this is weird, because it's weird only because it's not something you see from him very often, and out of nowhere, yeah, nah. Also, if the monthly Gripped Alive, they stopped. He did, but evidently he's just as sue happy as the rest. He wants an easy payday. These people think that, let's file these lawsuits against the state, the county, the sheriff's department. We'll get a couple of bucks. That it was like that at one time, a long time ago. Not anymore. They're not so willing to hand over that unnecessary money if they know they're. I don't know. It's true. That's crazy. Just something else attached to this poor kid's name. Something else attached to him. It has been like 10 months. I want to say, yeah, it's been a while. But I thought it was strange that he quit doing his monthly lives, and donation streams, whatever you want to call them. Oh, I don't know. But here we go. And this is from WSM4 SMV4, Nashville, Tennessee. And it says, why is it so big? Let me see if I can downsize this a little bit. I should be able to. Oh, Israeli, thank you so much. Nice to see you all for me. Rock and roll. God bless. Well, bless you too. And you be safe out there. Promise me you will be. And thanks for coming in. And thank you very much for the super chat. I forgot to do my goal. And Kat even asked me, okay, we got a goal. We have that imaginary thing going, but the imaginary one needs fulfilled. It's imaginary. I forget. So no, it's not going to let me. Let me see if it's going to let me. Okay, look, I need to zoom. I need to zoom. There we go. Well, hell, no wonder it's at 150%. There we go. That's because I'm blind as a bat. All right, that's better. It says, I have to keep it up some size so I can see it. They found my son, Sebastian Rogers' dad, sues sheriff state agency over Tennessee teen's disappearance. More than 2 years after Sebastian Rogers vanished from his Hendersonville home, his father says the agencies charged with protecting his son and later finding him failed at both. I kind of remember all the stops being pulled out and how quickly law enforcement was on top of him being missing. But, that's just me. Missing teen's dad sues investigators. And then it says what this story is about. The father of a missing teenager, Sebastian Rogers, has filed 2 federal lawsuits against the Sumner County Sheriff's Office and the Tennessee Department of Children's Services, alleging both agencies failed his son. One before his February 2024 disappearance, and one during the investigation that followed. Do you not? But there was CPS reports on him as well. Here is an imaginary start to your hidden goal. Keep the light on for me. Oh, thank you so much, 58. You're so sweet. Always. Thank you so much. Always. It's greatly appreciated, guys, because you all know I haven't been streaming much and it hasn't been. I've been hitting and miss like every other day and it hasn't been good. I can't believe whatever happened a month. I'm screwed this month. Oh, well. Anyway. The lawsuits represent the first formal public legal accounting of how government agencies handled both Sebastian's welfare and his disappearance, and could force the release of investigative records, internal communications, and sworn testimony that have never been made public. His goal. Oh, 58, thank you. You didn't have to do that, too. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. You are so supportive. Thank you so much. Welcome, all new misfits. Please thank 58. Thank you. I appreciate that, really. Thank you. Hey, Mama P. Wow, that's amazing. Thank you. T. Gussler got one. Yay! You missed it. You know, I haven't seen Druids. I wonder how Druids is doing. Tonka Girl got one. She's a misfit. Yeah, that's a scary thought there too. And what happens next? Both lawsuits are now moving through federal court. If the cases proceed, attorneys could seek investigative reports, internal communications, child welfare records, and sworn depositions from law enforcement and DCS officials. For context, at the time of his disappearance, Sebastian Rogers was a 15-year-old with autism spectrum disorder, severe ADHD, and a rare chromosomal condition which required daily support. His case became one of the most widely followed missing child cases in the country, drawing national media coverage, true crime podcast, and thousands of volunteers. Huh? What? You mean the drama did? Okay. Wow. But nothing was done, right? Catch up. Sebastian Rogers' mom described a gaping hole in her heart in an exclusive interview with WSMV4 nearly 2 years after her son's disappearance. Stepdad Chris Proudfoot described feeling hopeless in a 2024 interview with WSMV4 from Nashville, Tennessee. For 870 days, Seth Rogers has lived with a single unanswered question. What happened to his son? I need my son home, said Rogers. There's nothing else. Well, this isn't how you go about it. Now, nearly 2.5 years after 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers disappeared without a trace from the Hendersonville home he shared with his mother and stepfather, his father is asking a second question. He says has become just as important. What happened in the investigation? On Wednesday, Rogers filed 2 sweeping federal lawsuits that accused the agencies responsible for protecting Sebastian before he disappeared and investigating his disappearance afterward of failing him at nearly every stage. So, at nearly every stage, but wasn't there, rather quickly, law enforcement was on the scene and started searching. Was there not foot searches, dogs, horseback, drones, boats, helicopters? Was not EquiSearch there? There what? Okay. And it wasn't just the sheriff's department. The county sheriff, the state was also involved, and the FBI. But okay. Right. And look, there's a lot of other missing. Their families are lucky they get a flyer. Okay? They get a flyer. So, because there's just not enough staff and not enough money in the budget, sadly, for law enforcement to work every runaway teenager's case or every missing person's case. It sucks, but it is what it is. I wish there was enough. One lawsuit targets the Sumner County Sheriff's Office, alleging investigators mishandled the missing person investigation from its earliest hours by failing to secure the home as a potential crime scene. Where's that come from? Who's that sound like? Who's that sound like? Oh. Pursue critical investigative leads and devote adequate resources to the case. So he's saying they never followed up on any of the gazillion leads that a lot of these idiots knew weren't nothing but called in anyway, because the likes of Bullhorn Betty was telling them to. Is Bullhorn Betty not said that they were wrong because they didn't secure the scene? Her and Tony were the ones pounding this shit into Seth's head, which I'm sure it didn't take much to lean him, get him to go in that direction, because he's just like them, in my opinion. But whatever. Let me see what you guys are saying for a minute. What happened, Mama P? Let me back up and see. Today is my young cousin's birthday. She's still missing, Mama P? And you've had nothing? Oh my God. She's 16 today. Oh. Jeez. Have you gotten any kind of tips at all? I am so sorry. Oh. I've been there. My nephew was missing. I get. Oh. Law enforcement, when they're a certain age, or, even when they're not over 18, they still don't have the budgets and manpower to do what needs to be done. They just don't. Biggest search in Tennessee history, they said, yeah. They can't. And one of Betty's, which she would, get Seth and Tony to go along with her. Well, there was only one detective. Detectives work multiple cases. They have to. Yeah, I've shared her flyer or her poster on my community tab, and I put it out on my Twitter. I'll repost them. I'll repost it. So when I repost it, I'll put please share. I will, Mama P. I'll repost it. I hope you find her. And you've not gotten any kind of idea, nothing. That's crazy. I'm so sorry for that. The second lawsuit is against the Tennessee Department of Children's Services. Oh, good luck suing them. What amazes me is, how did he get attorneys to take this case? Well, never mind. Because shit like this, these attorneys will latch on to because they think it's going to make a name for themselves and they're going to get a quick payout. But yet, when, you have to fight your husband's company for benefits that he paid into all the years he worked for them, that they are refusing to pay, nobody wants to step up because they only get a certain percentage, but they still get a big chunk. You know what I mean? It's not the same. But these people can find these lawyers. Oof. Okay. Yeah. This is why it'll take 2 to 3 years. Sorry, but this shit pisses me off. Alleging the agency failed to protect Sebastian despite 2 closed investigations involving the teenager before he vanished. Didn't they say there was 5? Didn't they say there was 5? Hasn't that been their whole bullshit story all along? And Chris always stuck to his guns and said, no, there was 3, and they weren't all on him. It wasn't about, him and Sebastian's little situation. Wow. Betty, you liar. BJ, you a liar. Yep, that's what they've all been stating all along. 5 cases. Yeah. You notice he's not even admitting to the 3 either. Mm-hmm. Dollar signs, dollar signs, dollar signs. Several DCS officials are also named in that complaint, including DCS Commissioner Margie Quinn, a caseworker, an agency supervisor, and a DCS team leader. Wow. Together, the lawsuits paint the broadest and most detailed public picture yet of why Rogers believes the mystery surrounding his son's disappearance is not simply about what happened on the night Sebastian vanished, but whether government agencies repeatedly missed opportunities both before and after that night. Huh? So, look, by what he's saying, it's about him and him proving and getting a settlement out of the county and DCS and proving that he was right. But what he's put in here doesn't add up to what he's put out here on these streets for how many years now. And in other interviews and articles. This should be interesting, huh? So he was felled by both of them, Rogers told WSMV4 Investigates during an exclusive interview. My son wasn't protected. My son wasn't found, said Rogers. Well, Seth, there's sadly a lot of missing that haven't been found. It makes you want to sleep, but it's a nightmare. It makes you want to sleep, but it's a nightmare. Okay. Ooh. All right. A disappearance that still has no answers. Well, sometimes when teens run away, you never get the answers. But whatever. Do me a favor, guys. Hit that thumbs up. Anybody seen Sweets? I should have messaged her. Hit that thumbs up if you haven't. Subbed up if you're not. And hey, become a misfit like the rest of us. Sebastian Rogers disappeared sometime during the overnight hours of February 25th or 26th of 2024 from the Stafford Court home in Hendersonville, where he lived with his mother, Katie Proudfoot, and stepfather, Christopher Proudfoot. The disappearance immediately baffled investigators. Sebastian was 15 years old and had been diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder, severe combined type ADHD, and CQ27 chromosome deletion syndrome, a rare genetic disorder associated with intellectual disabilities and developmental delays. According to court filings and his father, Sebastian required extensive support services, attended behavioral therapy multiple times each week, saw specialists at Vanderbilt University Medical Center, and had never left home by himself. Oh boy. You can't use stuff that happened 10 years ago. You know? He needed all that. But yet, when he would be gone 12, 13 hours for work, he was okay to take care of himself. Huh? How's that make sense? How's that make sense? What would Seth know about any of that? Good question. He didn't live with him and he barely seen him. But when he did, he needed all this help. But when Katie and Chris were trying to find a place to get him the best possible help because the behavioral issues were so out of control and escalating, not just at home, at school, he wanted no parts of it. And then he tried to turn it, once it got out on the streets, tried to turn it around like they were trying to get rid of him. No, they were looking for the best resources they could find. They were just doing research, doing what they should do. And yet he wouldn't take him either. And I'm sure the school records are going to prove about the behavioral issues and as well as other things. I don't know. Oh no, he changed that story again now. He was home when Sebastian was. Yeah, okay. Oh my. Oh. When Sebastian went missing, his shoes remained inside the house. His cell phone was left behind. His Nintendo Switch remained on a table. The only item reported missing was a small flashlight. And that's what makes me think that Sebastian went out to meet someone. I don't know if he thought he was going to be leaving with them or if he was going out to get something they promised him, but I think someone exactly was communicating with him. And yeah. Of course, they don't want him to take a cell phone. They're not going to want him to take anything that can be traced or tracked. That's always been my opinion. And I think it was somebody from the gaming rooms that he was in, which we know he had free reign over at his father's house. He did not at home, but he did at his father's house. And I think he could even talk to people when he was at school. He was 15. Very high functioning. I'm so sick of them making it sound like this kid was so, all they do is they use his autism to define him, and that's not just who he was. And that's just a small part of who he was. But he was very high functioning. But he did have behavioral issues. But they've always swept that under the rug. The behavioral issues were so bad, he couldn't handle it. Dumped it all on Chris and Katie. And that's just my opinion on what I know of what's been going on from the get-go. But anyway. Or lured out, they are told to leave everything. Of course, yeah, they're not going to want anything that can track them. And Sebastian knew that where his phone and stuff had to be at night. He knew that, and I mean, oh my gosh. Anyway, I still, and I have looked over this stuff so many times, and there is just no evidence that Katie did anything, and Chris wasn't there. And everybody can judge her on, well, she didn't act this way. She didn't do it this way. Well, she's not going to do it your way. And you don't know how you'd act if you were in the same position. I seen a devastated, broken mother. But I also didn't go into it with a closed mind thinking she was guilty. I haven't had a closed mind thinking anybody was guilty. Because there's no evidence pointing that way. At 58, there are thousands of missing, never found children. This suit is dead. Otherwise, every parent of those missing children could start suing every agency involved. Yes, I agree with that. And thank you again. You're so very sweet. But yes, I agree with that. I mean, back when this was at its peak, me and Chico did a live about the 43 other missing in that area, and most were persons of color. They were lucky to have a flyer. Some had very little information. They didn't get none of this. So that can all their parents stand in line and sue too? They should, because they actually got no help. All the stops were pulled out for Sebastian and then some. Oh. According to a published account of the case by the FBI, Katie Proudfoot drove around the neighborhood and to Sebastian's school, searching for him before running home. During that time, his Sebastian's stepfather, Christopher Proudfoot, who was reportedly 3 hours away in southwest Tennessee for work, called the local emergency communication center to report Sebastian missing. Actually, no, he called the officer directly, didn't use the 911 system. Soon after his disappearance, Sebastian's mother insisted that he had never run away before. I don't know why he walked out that door, Katie Proudfoot said during an interview with WSMV4 on March 4th of 2024. For Seth Rogers, however, the suggestion that Sebastian simply wandered away never made sense. No matter how I look at it, I just cannot wrap my head around my son walking out of that house, Rogers said. No matter where we lived, he's never been one to just walk out of the house. Well, Seth, he was communicating with people in game rooms. You have these groomers are very good at what they do. That's why they get a hold of so many kids. And he was a little easier to manipulate. That's a possibility you have to look at, but you won't consider that. And you never have. A desperate search yields no clues. Ooh. Most cases never make it to the news. Most parents never go on the news or YouTube. True? Hey, Tinfoil, good to see you. Hey, sis, you should have been a detective. Mm-mm. YouTube expects more than they should out of families. Yep. This is a way for him to push his narrative even further, trying to outrage people and pressure to arrest Chris and Katie. Arrest them for what? They haven't. There's no evidence they did anything. There's no evidence of a crime. I mean, but yeah, he's Betty's been his sidekick's been screaming it nonstop for how long now? For how long now? And I still say she's behind this. I'm wondering if they're using the same law firm. I just don't know how they found attorneys, to be honest. Well, no, I backtrack on that. I take that back. I said it earlier. Yeah, I do. Because they're thinking, oh, this is, no matter what, the lawyer's going to get 40% plus any expenses. Plus any expenses. So, mm, or the feather in your cap. I got a settlement out of Department of Social Services. and the state and the county. Okay. But the wheels are jump up and down for that case, but don't have a real case. Don't have a case that, the payout's not going to be so big, but you might help a widow and 2 kids get what they need to survive. Yeah, you can't do that because the payout's not big enough. Fuck you, attorneys. Anyway, within hours of Sebastian's disappearance, authorities launched what officials described as one of the largest missing child searches in Tennessee history. Well, that's an exaggeration. But an endangered child alert issued the morning Sebastian disappeared was upgraded the following day to an amber alert after investigators determined they had reason to believe the teenager had been abducted and was in imminent danger. And that's also a possibility. Well, that would be considered an abduction, whether he went out to meet somebody from a gaming room that he had been talking to or a total stranger. That's an abduction. That's what I have been trying to say all along. I think that he went out to meet someone and that's it. I don't remember them saying it was an abduction, though. I don't, did I, is, so much has happened and it's been, 2.5 years. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not thinking right, but I don't remember the FBI or the sheriff's department officials saying that he was abducted and in imminent danger. It was upgraded because of his medical condition. That's what I thought. That was what we had always assumed. Wow, this news station's really bad. This reporter's really bad. Lots of misinformation in this article. Shocker. Okay. And I don't know about it being one of the largest, whatever. According to Seth, how could it be one of the largest missing child searches in Tennessee history if they didn't do anything? Wow. Yeah, Seth says that. I don't know I've never heard law enforcement say that. But if they did, then I'll stand corrected. But I don't remember law enforcement stating he was abducted in imminent danger. I was always told it was because of his medical with the chromosome deletion and the autism and everything, it all combined. Excuse me. Hundreds of law enforcement officers joined the search. Helicopters circled overhead. Drones scanned wooded terrain. Mounted patrols searched fields and creek beds. Specialized canine teams tracked possible scent trails. Thousands of volunteers poured into Sumner County. But they did nothing. I mean, read what he's claiming is they failed him because they didn't find him because they didn't handle it right. They didn't do anything. They didn't do enough. How does this make sense? If abducted, why no vehicle or suspect information and why search the woods? What if, and this is just my thinking, what if the reason why there was no vehicle spotted on the street is because he went and met them? And in that area, it's so very dark. He lived there. He may have known to go the back way where you wouldn't be seen. You know what I mean? I don't know. But we also don't know every little thing that law enforcement knows because it is an active open investigation. Search teams eventually expanded into Kentucky, where investigators searched a landfill in White Plains after receiving information they believed warranted additional investigation. Altogether, more than 2,000 volunteers searched roughly 44,000 acres. Didn't they search like 40 ponds also? Despite weeks of intensive search efforts, investigators found no confirmed evidence explaining what happened to Sebastian. Because I think he got in a car. That's just my opinion. That's what I've always thought. No arrests have been made. No suspects have been publicly identified. No one has been named a person of interest. No one. How can you have seven different agencies and hundreds of people working on stuff and not find any speck of evidence that he was there? Asked Rogers. For a time, the mystery became one of the country's most closely followed missing persons cases. Yeah, that's not true either. People wouldn't touch it because of all the lawsuits and chaos and drama involved attached to it. So that's not true. National television networks covered the search. What? And true crime podcasts devoted hours to analyzing the case. Oh, you mean idiots like Bullscore and Betty and Mob Crew that mess with things and lie to people about what's going on and misinform and make up evidence? Yeah, okay. Ooh, good people to have on your side. You know, the likes of that Lady Freedom and, BJ. Ooh, and Spanky. Yeah, all them. Yeah. The messed with photos, the messed with videos. Yeah, okay. Okay. The made up photos. Yeah. Sure. YouTube creators and social media investigators produce countless videos, theories, and timelines attempting to explain Sebastian's disappearance. For Rogers, however, the attention never produced what he wanted most: Sebastian. It's like God gave me a purpose in life, and he still is. I just got to find him, Rogers said. From confidence in the SCSO to doubt. To doubt. I guess Vinny is covering it, or already did. Hey, Willows, how are you? Yeah, I think they thought runaway too. That's what you would think with a 15-year-old. That would be your first thought because that's the norm. But, I hate to say it, but teenagers run away all the time. Some found, some never. It's, you know. But this reporter here should be ashamed. Okay, if it was the largest search in Tennessee history, how can you state they didn't do enough? I just listed all the things that they've done, but yet they didn't do enough. Okay. Initially, Rogers believed investigators would solve the case. But as days turned into weeks, he said he quickly began to doubt whether the SCSO was up to the task of finding Sebastian. I lost all faith, said Rogers. You're supposed to have good faith in your law enforcement agency, and I have no faith in them at all. Within a month of his son's disappearance, Rogers said the focus of his question shifted from "Where's Sebastian?" to what happened to the investigation. That question ultimately became the foundation of his first federal lawsuit. According to the complaint filed on Wednesday, Rogers alleges the SCSO investigation was inadequate, negligent, and ultimately abandoned. They abandoned the case. The 21-page civil rights suit, Betty and her attorney, telling you this was all concocted by Tony, Betty, and Seth. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. Kind of mirrors Betty's in a way. Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry, I got to get the cat a treat. You're going to hear me open her bag. If I don't give him a treat, he's not going to stop. He's so spoiled. We read that. It also alleges that investigators failed to verify Christopher Proudfoot's alibi, which you would not know about, Seth, because they wouldn't tell you that. And that they failed to, and who says that? Where does that come out of? Who was always spinning that theory? Betty. Betty's probably pumped him up thinking you're going to get this, you're going to get that, you know. We're both going to get, some quick paydays here. They failed to investigate why surveillance cameras at the home were not working, according to the lawsuit. That should have been a significant cause of suspicion and point of thorough investigation. Because upon information and belief, Katie Proudfoot installs and operates security cameras for a living. So, not everybody has security cameras, or they have them and they don't fucking work. The complaint also alleges investigators did not adequately pursue a tip from a nurse at one of Sebastian's doctor's offices. According to the suit, the nurse reported that Katie Proudfoot canceled Sebastian's upcoming mental health appointment just 3 days before he disappeared. So, you cancel and reschedule appointments all the time. So, what? The lawsuit says the nurse described the cancellation as unusual, noting Sebastian was always present for his appointments. Well, things come up. Investigators, the complaint alleges, never followed up on it. The lawsuit also claims that SCSO stopped communicating with Rogers, and there has been a communications blackout with him for the past 18 months. I wonder why. I wonder why. Oh my gosh. I wonder why. He sits in court with Bullhorn Betty. Oh my God. I cannot. I think, in my opinion, there was a lack of trust. Anyway. Hey, Shabby. His whole son's case has been nothing but a money grab for him and his pal. A nurse can't tell anyone that information. She did. She violated HIPAA. But for a nurse to say it's unusual, things happen and you have to cancel appointments. It happens. Hey, Kim. Yeah, I question that too. Does it say how much money? I'm not there yet. We're getting into the second lawsuit. And see at the bottom, see if it says how much money he wants, because I heard a number and I hope it's a lie. Oh, I'm sure they're going to ask for a pretty penny. They're definitely going to ask for a pretty penny. You know that. They're going to go big. They're not going to go high low. They're going to go big. High low means when you agree to then settle on a meal. They're going to go big. I think so. I think they're going to ask for a lot. But that's just my opinion, and I could be wrong. The lawsuit also claims that they stopped communications with him. It says a lot when they won't speak to me, Roger said. To me, it says that they know that they screwed the pooch. No, they know they can't trust you and that you'll go put out things and you'll spend things, and I'm sure you weren't easy to work with. Anyway. This looks to me like an amateur investigation, said Darren Ritchie, the lawyer who represents Rogers and filed the lawsuit on his behalf. I wonder if that lawyer's connected to Betty's. It doesn't take an expert in investigations to know what's supposed to happen when you have a missing 15-year-old autistic child. He said the investigation, it was dead on arrival. The investigation was dead on arrival, yet it was the biggest search efforts in Tennessee history. Okay. Okay. WSMV4 investigates contacted Sumner County Sheriff's Office about the claims now included in Rogers' lawsuit. The department has not responded to our request for an interview because they can't. A second lawsuit. What DCS knew. A father who says he never got the chance. Oh my God. He wouldn't have even been in Tennessee, able to be in Sebastian's life if it wasn't for Chris and Katie paying to move him there, helping him to get a job. How long it had been? And they moved you there because they wanted you a part of his life. Whatever. Unlike the sheriff's office complaint, which argues investigators failed to pursue critical leads after Sebastian vanished, the DCS suit claims that agency failed to take protective steps that could have prevented Sebastian's disappearance in the first place. So he didn't want to be homeschooled. He didn't want to leave school. He didn't want to live with you. And you think if they would have interfered, they would have made it better? Okay. I don't see how it would have, but whatever. The complaint alleges the agency already possessed warning signs about Sebastian's welfare, documented them in its own files, then closed 2 investigations without notifying him, his father. What happened to the 5? Huh? And where's the third one at that's about you? Just saying, that stuff's going to come out. Boy, this reporter's really... Whew. he said that this revelation. Wait, what? For Rogers, that revelation has become one of the most painful parts of the case that DCF didn't step in and didn't tell him. What did I do for him not to tell me that he was scared? Rogers asked. I'm supposed to protect him. I failed him. You knew he didn't want to leave school. You knew he didn't want to go live with you. Is that what you're talking about? I don't know. Rogers said he had no idea DCS had investigated allegations involving Sebastian in 2022 and again in 2023 until after his son disappeared. He said he learned the investigations existed only after hearing about them publicly and later obtaining DCS records through his attorney. So then he's been lying all along. And so was all his cronies, because he's known all along, like we've all said. Where's the five cases? Mm-hmm. Hey, Hit the Like. That's a cool name. Yeah, I agree. What did Seth say when Sebastian told his teachers about Seth? He said his child had a habit of embellishing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, only when it's about him. Only when it's about him. Exactly. He chose to hire the attorney. All part of their stick. Why wasn't I informed? He could have come to live with me. I'd have taken him in a heartbeat, said Rogers. Wait a minute. Wasn't the whole big schmill was he was going to live with his dad? Was that already enrolled him in school while he was still actively enrolled in another school? And then he was going to be homeschooled? What? So now that's not the story? That's what he said. He said, why wasn't I informed? He could have came to live with me. I'd have taken him in a heartbeat, said Rogers. No parent should have to get an attorney to get records from a state agency to find out what was already recorded. That doesn't make sense. That's when it's you. And the way you handle things, yeah. And so now the story changes. So he wasn't already registered in school to be homeschooled, and what? But remember now, at first, the first time he wouldn't take him, he said, "Now I'm going to give you a year to get your behavior together." In other words, you were dumping it on Chris and Katie and telling them to get it together, get him together. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Seth, there's interviews with you saying you could just go pick up the reports or hire an attorney. Exactly. There is. And he could have. He chose to get the attorney. And we know why. Now we're seeing. Now a lot of the shit he did is making sense. But he talked too much out here. So these lawyers are going to have a field day with this. Because that's not the story. The story was he was getting Sebastian. Sebastian was going to live with him. Just didn't want to. But not according to this. And his stories change. According to the complaint, DCF first opened an investigation in September of 2022 after Sebastian disclosed to a school professional that he had been abused by another child while living in California. Okay, but and that was all dealt with in California, by the way. Anyway, during that investigation, the lawsuit alleges DCF documented concerns involving Sebastian's home environment before closing the case in 2022 without taking protective action. It's not the mom's fault, Seth, because something like that happened. They were two small, very young children, first off. And second off, it was a one-time thing that happened, and they're not going to remove him out of his home where the said person didn't even live, where the other child didn't even reside. They were playing together. Eight months later, DCS opened a second investigation after receiving allegations that Sebastian's stepfather, Christopher Proudfoot, had struck him in the stomach. And we all know what the outcome was what that was all about. And it never happened. And that's why the case was closed. Sebastian was mad. They were having severe behavioral issues with Sebastian, and Seth was well aware of that. And it wasn't just at home, it was at school as well. It says the lawsuit claims Sebastian confirmed the incident to investigators and that his stepfather allegedly admitted striking him. Despite that, the complaint says DCF closed the investigation 3 days later, determining no additional services were needed. Yeah, you're twisting that all up too, but that'll come out in court too. That'll definitely come out in court. Approximately 9 months later, Sebastian disappeared. The complaint relies heavily on DCS' own investigative records, arguing they show the agency had information suggesting Sebastian was a vulnerable child who required greater protection. Among the allegations, the lawsuit claims DCS documented that Sebastian said he felt safest with his father. It also alleges the agency determined Sebastian qualified for the federal title candidacy program, a designation for children considered at serious or imminent risk of removal from their homes. Then why wasn't he removed? If all that's true, why wasn't he removed? Because so far, the only one that's told the truth about these reports has been Christopher Proudfoot. And he said that if everybody knew what was in those reports, they would have to backpedal on all the things they put out here. The lawsuit argues those findings should have prompted additional protective action rather than the closure of both investigations. When you only have one side of the story, there's no way to reach a reasonable conclusion, Richie said. Half the story leaves half the conclusion. Richie argues that had DCF involved Seth Rogers during its investigations, the outcome may have been different. I don't think we'd be here today talking, he said. I think Seth would have corroborated what Sebastian was feeling, and I think this would have taken a very different turn. But weren't we told that it was all, according to Seth, that it was already a done deal when he had already enrolled Sebastian in the homeschool program and all that? Everything was pretty, He tried everything he could to break up Chris and Katie. When that didn't work, he could have taken Sebastian. He didn't want to. Seth had admitted to being asked to take him and not doing it. Yes. Chris admitted to the one SWAT. Yeah, not a stomach, the SWAT. Yeah, I know. Oh, man. This is a lame reporter, because a good reporter would have did their research, their homework, and seen all the different statements Seth put out here over and over and over again. I don't know. The lawsuit also alleges DCF violated Seth Roger's constitutional rights by failing to notify him of either investigation, despite documenting that Sebastian identified him as the parent with whom he felt safest. Yeah, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. There is no words for it. They failed my son. They didn't try to protect him, Roger said. WSMV4 Investigates reached out to DCS about the lawsuit in an email statement. The agency wrote, as a matter of practice, the department generally does not comment on pending litigation. Additionally, DCS is unable to comment on specific cases due to state and federal confidentiality laws. Our priority remains and will always remain the safety and well-being of children in Tennessee. What happens next? Wow, this reporter put a lot into this, huh? Too bad they got a lot of misinformation. Too bad, so much misinformation. And then Chris said to Seth, he didn't want to go to your house. Seth said, he told me different, even though I don't know when that conversation would have been. Yeah, that's all they've been doing, Kim. Now there's even more shit tied to Sebastian forever. It's insane. Yeah, I do too. I like DSF. I don't have a problem with DSF. I never did. I don't blame the guy. You get fed up. I mean, that man was being attacked. You had Bullhorn Betty and her cronies filing all these false reports against his PI licenses and stuff, attacking his business, attacking him. People putting out shit. Yeah, you're gonna have enough and speak. But I agree too. I wonder what he's gonna think about this. I wonder if he'll comment about this at all. I'm gonna reach out to him on Twitter and see. He had a lot of information. Yeah, he had a lot of information he wouldn't release, period. Yes, that's true. Seth also admitted he only searched those few times. Yes, remember when we found that out, Straight Talker? Remember how he made it seem like he was out there day in and day out? And then we found out, due to their own court filings, that he had only been out there 4 times, but didn't even actually search. 3 of the times were photo ops, video ops. Yeah. Because he had a bad arm, bad shoulder. Shut up. So do I, and I still do it every day. Okay, so both lawsuits are now moving into federal court, where Rogers and his attorney hope the discovery process will force government agencies to publicly Okay, sorry, my little woke up. It's weird that he woke up. It's going on 11 o'clock. He had a dream. He's okay. He's laying down. Okay. Sorry, I had to make sure my little's okay. It says the process will force government agencies to publicly answer questions that they say have gone unanswered for nearly 2.5 years. If the cases proceed, if they proceed, attorneys could seek investigative reports, internal communications, emails, child welfare records, training materials, and sworn testimony from deputies, detectives, DCS employees, and other officials involved in Sebastian's case. Those records could provide the first detailed public look at decisions made before Sebastian disappeared and during the investigation that followed. They cannot, why would you want to hurt the open investigation of your son that way and put all this out there? So if someone does have them, they know what's being looked at and what isn't. Why would you want to take that risk? That just mm, 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 mm. The records could provide the first detailed public look at decisions made before Sebastian disappeared and during the investigation that followed. Whether the lawsuits ultimately succeed, however, will be decided in court. Because for now, the allegations contained in both complaints remain just that, allegations. As detailed as the case filings are, neither lawsuit identifies who caused Sebastian's disappearance. And neither suit alleges that Katie or Christopher Proudfoot is legally responsible for Sebastian's disappearance. Instead, both lawsuits argue government agencies failed to meet their responsibilities after receiving information they should have acted upon. And for me, and this is just for me, that speaks that I want a settlement quick. Sorry, but it does. Seth has always been more about the attention he's getting. It's always been about him. This is, look at me. I'm the father of a missing teen and I'm suing these people. Look at me. Look over here. Mm-mm. I know they didn't do their job. You know how I know? We don't have Sebastian here sitting with us today, Richie said. That's Seth's attorney. Katie and Christopher Proudfoot declined WSMB's request for an on-camera interview to discuss Rogers' claims. However, neither has been arrested in connection with Sebastian's disappearance, and neither has been named as a suspect, not publicly identified by law enforcement as a person of interest. Both have consistently denied any involvement in Sebastian's disappearance. In previous interviews with WSMV4, Katie Prop would describe the accusations directed at her family as deeply painful. I'm sure. A father still searching. You mean the meet and greets they do every couple months, where they all hang out and go out to eat and drink and hang out together? They don't actually go put up flyers anywhere. They don't actually organize any searches. They hang out, eat, and drink. Yeah. So they can pat themselves on the back and say, see what I did? See what I'm doing? Or they go there and heckle the sheriff's department. They don't help. What's this helping? What is them heckling trying to get a sheriff fired for doing his job? Because clearly, if it was the largest search ever in Tennessee history, clearly law enforcement has done their job. Interesting. He looks upset. You are lying, and that can be proved. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's plenty of it out here. Yeah, and the tips they're talking about? Come on. You can't be serious. Oh, my Lord. This is bad. Oh, thank you for the $5 PayPal. I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay. Well, there we go. We got another goal. So that's 4. Even though I didn't do a goal, we still have an imaginary one. Like we usually do over here. And yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Everything helps. Well, wait a minute. A father still searching. In both federal cases, Roger's attorney is seeking millions of dollars. Millions of dollars. Plus injunctions to force each agency to change their policies and refocus the investigation into Sebastian's disappearance. Millions of dollars. Sit with that for a minute. Millions of dollars. If all he was concerned about was getting them to change their policies and putting more work into Sebastian's case, why is that not the only thing he's doing? Why is it millions of dollars? Specifically, the lawsuit against Sumner County Sheriff's Office demands $10 million plus punitive damages, and the suit against DCS seeks $15 million plus punitive damages. They want millions for punitive damages as well. So you're looking at they're probably going for $30 to $40 million. Yeah. But it's really about Sebastian, right? It's really about getting them working his case. It's really about policy change. Yeah. Okay. Take that in. $10 million plus punitive damages against Sumner County. Betty is also asking for millions, for a lot of money. Maybe not nowhere near as this, but Betty is asking for a huge amount too. And DCF 15 million plus millions in punitive damages. It's not about the money, though, right? It's just about not making it better for any other children that are missing or go missing. No, can't do that. Nope. It's all about lining these idiots' pockets. I told you that's why an attorney jumped on this. The amount of money they're seeking. They know they're not going to get that, but they'll most likely get a settlement if it goes any further. If it proceeds in the court, there's a chance they could get one. Now, whether or not it proceeds is yet to be seen. But yeah. Oof. That's a lot of money. With the county, they're going to have to prove that the county did not represent his constitutional rights. That very own tip line is going to get him in trouble because of the information that they were putting out to people that were calling in tips was horrible. That it was. I hope they do. I hope they get themselves some good lawyers and they actually do utilize all the stuff that's been put out on YouTube. And the people that have been sued by these idiots, by Seth and his cronies. I sure do. I'm hoping they do, because there's a treasure trove of evidence for them to use. A treasure trove. But what are they going to look at if it does happen to, by some chance, proceed in court? What are they're going to look at? Well, it's going to cost a ton of money for the lawyers to gather all this, speak to all these people. Would it be easier just to give them this amount of money? It'll end up saving us money. I'm hoping that's not the avenue they take. I'm hoping they say, hell with it, let's spend this money. This isn't, because this will be a mark on them. And that's going to open up the door for all the other families to get in line and sue who didn't get more than a flyer. They didn't get all the searches. They didn't get the canines, the helicopters, the drones, the boats, the horseback. They didn't get all that. They didn't get EquiSearch. But this was the largest search in Tennessee's history, yet not enough and nothing was done. Make that make sense. And now he's going for millions and millions of dollars. Money, 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 money. Money. While Richie said neither case is about money. Oh, it's not. It's not about money. But you're going for millions. Millions. But it's not about money. He wants the dollar amount to send a clear message. It is a statement of alarm, Richie said. It is to bring attention to the matter. Roger said the suits are about forcing accountability. But not on his part. Okay. He also prays renewed focus on the case will bring about an answer to the only question in his mind that matters. Where is Sebastian? Yeah, I don't believe that's the only question that matters. You're asking for millions and millions of dollars here. It's always been about the money and attention, in my opinion, for you. But that's just my opinion. He's alive. He's just lost, Roger said. That belief is what keeps him searching. Searching? What does he do? What does he do? What searches has he organized? They do meet and greets and hang out, eat and drink. They don't post flyers. They don't organize search efforts. They don't do anything. What's he doing? And why he said he has driven more than 100,000 miles in his truck across multiple states, chasing leads. And it is why, more than 2 years later, he says he refuses to stop asking questions. Only now those questions may ultimately be asked and possibly answered in federal court. I want to hug my son in the morning, Roger said. I want to feel his presence. I don't want to wake up. I don't want to wake up from these nightmares anymore. That's it. So, he's going for 25 million plus millions in punitive damages. Plus. What do you guys think? The Rico is going to follow him wherever he goes. I hate to say it. Yeah. I'm just all that money, and they are taking from other missing children cases, the very thing Betty claims to advocate for. So, yeah, exactly. Exactly. They want policies changed. They want more done. But he only mentioned Sebastian's case. But they want to take all this money that could go into more hiring more officers, putting the bill for having more of a team for the missing. Makes me sick to my stomach and sad for Sebastian. Yeah. When I was sent this, I couldn't believe it. I had to read it myself. I was like, oh no, I'm going live with this. Because he just filed the lawsuits. This is sad. This case is. Look, I totally get it. He wants his son found. I totally get the frustration. My nephew was missing. We didn't get any help from law enforcement. None. Oh, a phone call. That was it. It's not, and I get the frustration. You're not getting any information, but he cannot honestly sit there and say, and I get that you feel they didn't do enough. They didn't do enough because he wasn't found. Well, there's a lot of missing that aren't found. Why should you be able to sue when they can't? Why should your child get all the stops pulled out when theirs got none? How would he know he's not talked to them? True. Hey, Darby. If they bring up possible abuse by Chris and Katie, then that opens the door for them to bring in evidence of Seth's own abuse accusations. Oh, well, that door's open because they did bring in California and they did bring in DCS. So that door's open. This will not end well. Yeah, I'm hoping that the state and the county and DCF, the sheriff's office, and because in DCF, I am hoping they don't take this thing down because it's going to be a nightmare for Tennessee. There's going to be a barrage of cases filed from missing people's families, missing children's families. Okay. And his relationship with law enforcement is his own doing, is his own fault. He thought he could push them around and demand things because he had people like Bullhorn Betty and Tony in his ear. And I still think that's who was instrumental in getting him to file these federal lawsuits. I don't think that Nick at media had anything to do with this, in my opinion. I think that is why they have separated, and I think that's why Nick has said the things he said. We just didn't know what the meaning was behind it, and now we do. They've been lying on the police for months. I hope this brings all that out, but who knows? He ought to sue the YouTubers that helped him mess up his. Well, remember now, his sidekick Bullhorn filed her own lawsuits against the county. And, well, not the county. She's suing the sheriff and a retired detective. Hey, Terrio. Yeah, right. That's what they claimed, but never followed through. Yeah, I was going to ask my neighbor. He's a civil law attorney. I was going to ask him if he would, just go, come on and answer. I know he can't, but answer some of our questions. I'm gonna see if I can catch him home tomorrow. I'm gonna see if he will. How you doing, Terrio? Sorry, she's flossing her teeth. And she couldn't get the bag open. I wish the behavioral panel would review the interview Seth did with reporters. Yeah, do you think they'd be unbiased? I don't know. I mean, they didn't hesitate to do Chris and Katie's. I don't know why they wouldn't do his. This is just crazy, though. $25 million plus millions in punitive damages. It'd be cool though if they would go over some of this. Maybe somebody could go in their chats and put the idea out there. Maybe they'll consider it. Okay, sorry. She needed tucked in. She's going to be 11, but Mama still tucks her in. I let her stay. Did you watch the interview? He seemed different in a way. I don't know. It was the interview with the report. No, but I'll turn it on. I'll put it back on and we can watch it. It probably says everything I just sat there and read. I didn't even think about it. Oh, I hate these ads on this stuff. All right, it's probably going to say everything I just said, but we'll watch it. Why did...
I'm for the student, not the system.
I'm for the underdog.
I'm for the American dream, for hardworking families.
Yeah, he had his shoulder.
Okay, we got some breaking news right now. 2.5 years after Sebastian Rogers vanished. His father is taking the Sumner County Sheriff's Office to federal court, claiming the investigation failed his son.
870 days later, missing, and the question that has haunted Middle Tennessee from the beginning remains the same. What happened to Sebastian?
So tonight, just hours after filing suit, Seth Rogers sits down exclusively with WSMV4's Stacey Cameron, saying it's time to ask a second question. What happened to the investigation?
We're continuing to follow breaking news in Sumner County. A large search is underway for a missing teen.
Thousands searched.
There is significant concern tonight.
He was last seen in all black.
Millions watched.
Dog, the bounty hunter, is coming to look for Sebastian.
No, he didn't.
Everyone had a theory.
What was under that soft soil?
Everyone wanted answers.
He deserves justice.
What happened to
that was Joy.
Sebastian Rogers? But nearly 2.5 years later, there have been no arrests, no suspects, and no sight of Sebastian.
I need my son home. I need my son home.
From the moment his son went missing, Sebastian's father, Seth Rogers, prayed.
It was like God gave me a purpose in life.
Your son was your purpose.
And he still is. I just gotta find him.
Sebastian disappeared during the overnight hours of February 26, 2024, from the Hendersonville home he shared with his mother, Katie Proudfoot, and her husband, Chris Proudfoot.
He's never run away before. I don't know why. I don't know why he walked out that door.
Now, you look at that woman's face and you tell me that is not a broken, devastated mom.
First, Seth says he trusted the investigation, but the idea Sebastian just walked from home alone with no shoes on and without his phone never made sense.
People don't just vanish into thin air.
No, they don't.
Sure they do.
No matter how I look at it, I just cannot wrap my head around my son walking.
The hell they don't. My nephew was missing for a year. Not a sign of him. Not a friend heard anything from him. No Facebook. No nothing. There was zilch. Absolutely nothing. It happens all the time, sadly.
That house.
Sebastian has autism, ADHD, and a rare chromosomal disorder that caused intellectual disabilities. So as hours turned to days and days to weeks, Seth Roger says his faith in the investigation faded. And the question...
His faith in the investigation faded. Okay. He can't erase all the other interviews he did early on, and none of the panels or YouTube lives he did either. Nope. That vehicle had emergency lights on it, suggesting urgency. Hey, Teresa. I think he went through some surgery, if I'm not mistaken. That's what... Yeah, he had that outpatient neck decompression done. That was a long time ago, though. He sure keeps putting on that weight. That's not healthy to be, That's not healthy.
Changed. It was no longer, where's Sebastian? But what happened to the investigation?
I don't think they put any effort in finding my son anymore.
He says that question is what brought him here, suing the Sumner County Sheriff's Office in federal court, claiming the agency and people that were supposed to find his son failed them both.
Did you think a search that big would find at least one clue?
Would have been nice.
The lawsuit claims Seth Rogers' loss of confidence didn't happen overnight. The complaint claims the case was never adequately staffed and argues that once the massive ground search for Sebastian ended, the investigation began losing momentum. Only one detective was left to follow leads, and there was just one news conference at that point to update the public.
We are exploring every lead that comes in and every tip that comes in.
Making it all worse, according to the lawsuit.
But that's standard procedure in any missing case. Detectives work multiple cases and one detective. That's just how it is all over, not just in Tennessee.
The sheriff's office stopped communicating with Seth Rogers, and for the past 18 months, there's been a communications blackout.
Is that what it feels like, a blackout?
Yeah. It says...
Well, maybe you shouldn't have been attacking them on a never-ending basis, and maybe you shouldn't have been supporting these idiots that were going around doing all this shit and doing all... Come on, Seth. Take some accountability here. Remember when he said he had that big meeting with the sheriff and everything was good and the FBI talks to him and, he had a good, everything was good. They gave the police department an award. Remember that?
A lot when they won't speak to me. To me, it says that they know that they screwed the pooch.
Then the lawsuit asks another question. If the investigation lost steam in the early days, what happened during those first critical hours? Because the complaint claims that's where some of its most serious allegations begin.
And your lawsuit says this investigation, its focus was critically marred from the beginning.
It was dead on arrival. This looks to me like an amateur investigation.
That's Seth Rogers' attorney, Darren Ritchie. The first allegation centers on the home itself. The lawsuit claims investigators never secured the Proudfoot home as a potential crime scene, allowing reporters and family members inside before it was fully processed.
That alone from the jump
wait a minute.
started this.
But they've always stated that they never processed the scene at the home at all. In fact, that's been one of Betty's biggest pushing points, Seth and Tony too. But, the news reporters say differently, the ones that were actually, what's the one that's always on Facebook who covered this case? He said that there was processing of the home. Because he talked with law enforcement. But, that's one of the things they've always pushed. So what is it? You can't be, for 2.5 years, put out the exact opposite of what you're saying in your lawsuits.
On a faulty road.
But the lawsuit says there was something else investigators should have been asking about: home security cameras. Because according to the suit, they weren't working the day Sebastian disappeared.
Do you have evidence that those security cameras at the home were offline and investigators didn't determine why?
I just know that they have not been able to get any footage from those cameras. I don't know why, but I know that that would have been the first key element of any evidence to collect in this case.
Looks like a big law practice.
That should have
now
raised immediate questions.
Makes sense. If you look at the lawyer's surroundings, it makes sense why they're going for millions and millions and millions of dollars. The only way this lawyer would touch it.
Because
but
Katie
there's only so much they're going to put into it too. That's why they're going to go for a quick settlement. If this proceeds, and it looks like it's going to proceed in court, there's no way this... Do you know what it costs to do one of these trials with these multiple agencies? Who's got law firms that will just tie you up in filing after filing after filing? They're going to go for a quick settlement if it goes anywhere. Mark my words.
Installs and services security cameras for a living, but the suit claims the missed opportunities didn't end there. It also alleges investigators never verified Chris Proudfoot's alibi that he was 3 hours away when Sebastian
That's not true.
disappeared.
That's not true, because Seth's own private investigators that, he didn't like because, Tony wanted them gone. He didn't like because they wanted to check people out. They wanted to do their job. They even said that where Chris was confirmed. So that's also not true. According to what we know that has been out here. And it's on Web Sleuths. You can go watch it.
What evidence says Chris Proudfoot's alibi wasn't verified?
We have looked at the police reports on this matter, and we do not see where they were able to verify his alibi. They may say that the alibi is safe and is accurate, but I don't see the steps that they took to get there.
The complaint also describes an alleged tip from a nurse at Sebastian's doctor's office who claimed Katie Proudfoot canceled an appointment just 3 days before Sebastian vanished.
So?
The suit claims that lead was never adequately pursued. And it further alleges the sheriff's office was already part of a child protective team looking into abuse allegations involving Sebastian after Chris Proudfoot allegedly struck him in the stomach.
You're suing the sheriff's office.
Okay. Again, that's rumor, gossip. That's not what's been stated. In fact, Chris opened up about, and Katie talked about it and said that that's why DCF was even called. And it was, all this, wow, the story's really changed. But guess whose narrative a lot of this is coming from? Please tell me an attorney of this caliber that has an office suite like that isn't listening to the likes of Bullhorn Betty. I'm wondering in what way her attorney is connected to this law firm. I'm not one to dig into people's personal stuff, but I'm gonna look into it. I'm gonna see if there is any connection between this lawyer in his practice and her lawyer. And you're going to have to dig, because it may be, it's not, it may not be right out in the open, or it may be, I don't know, but it's worth a look at. A looky-see. Hey, sweets, I was asking for you. I'm going to text you tonight so you know it's me. That way I have your number in my phone with your name. Oh, guys, you're not even... How this idiot even got my phone number is beyond me. And if I find out it was the licensing agency, I am going to... Because I am no longer licensed because I don't take in new fosters. I am going to go off like a bottle rocket. But for the past 5 days, I've been averaging about 130 calls a day or text messages a day from their bio father who's on one of his benches. So I'm going to be changing my number again. This time I won't be putting it in the. They won't be putting it in the file because that's the only way he could have gotten it. But thankfully, it's the Google free number that I use and not my real phone number. So it makes it a lot easier to change. But there's just people I have to contact, to let them know.
But the complaint at some point sounds like the finger's being pointed at the Proudfoots. Who are you after here?
I am going after the sheriff's department right now.
We also reached out to the Proudfoots.
Didn't it just happen?
Interview request, but they have.
Sweets, did you hear how much money? His birthday was what, in June? Was it June? Did you hear how much money they're asking for? $25 million plus millions in punitive damages between the two federal suits. $10 million from the county sheriff's department and plus punitive damages, and $15 million plus punitive damages from Department of Children's Services. Is that not insane? But it's not about the money.
Never been arrested, never been named suspects, and never been identified as persons of interest in Sebastian's disappearance. And they have repeatedly told WSMV4 they had nothing to do with Sebastian's disappearance.
How bad does that hurt when people start accusing you? It hurts. It hurts a lot.
For Katie Proudfoot, the pain is being accused. For Seth Rogers, the pain is not knowing if everything that should have been done to find Sebastian was.
I want to hug my son. I want to
feel his
physical presence.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to close my eyes and have these nightmares anymore.
We asked the Sumner County Sheriff's Office for an interview. We haven't heard back. And tonight, there is more. Rogers also filed a second federal lawsuit, this one targeting the Tennessee Department of Children's Services. The suit claims DCS had 2 cases of alleged abuse involving Sebastian, one of them inside the Hendersonville home where he lived, but never notified his father, Seth Rogers. Both of those cases were closed without Sebastian being removed from that home. But the lawsuit now asks whether that was a mistake and claims DCS failed Sebastian. We'll have more on
number
that
one of those suits had nothing to do with any kind of physical abuse by anyone. It was something that happened in another state, which was already dealt with when he was a very small child, playing with another small child.
tomorrow night. For WSMV4, I'm investigative reporter Stacey.
You guys messed a lot of misinformation in that one. Ooh. I'll tell you what, if the state and county attorneys aren't lazy attorneys, they got some evidence they need to be gathering up. I hope they don't. He will be 17 or 18 this year. Sorry, y'all. I just woke up. Can't think. He's 17, isn't he? He was 15 when he went missing. Yeah, he's 17. But you've seen that attorney's surroundings, okay? He's not some small little attorney. So there's no way, though, this attorney got to where he's at by taking cases like this and spending years in court fighting them. Do you know how much money that takes? That's all on contingency. They would have to foot the bill, hoping to get it back. Plus, verdicts can go into appeals, and it's just never ending. No, do some research. You might find he made settlements. So they're going to go for, if this proceeds to go anywhere that they think is going to end up in trial, they're going to go for a settlement. I'm telling you, they're going to go for a settlement. Then they can cackle that they won, and I was right. See, they settled it because they knew they'd messed up and they knew they didn't do enough. Of course, they never do enough when a kid goes missing. It never seems like they do enough, but they do. And when they've exhausted everything, what do you want them to do? If there's no reliable tips, no nothing, what do you want them to do? Don't act. And then he acts like he's been. No, you haven't been, dude. You haven't been. I don't know. I'm hoping he doesn't. But I just know that this is, how many now, all the other parents who, they were lucky they got a freaking flyer for their missing. They can all go file federal lawsuits tomorrow too. Because they really can say that nothing was done and they didn't do enough. Because nothing was done. They didn't get all that searching. They didn't get 7 different departments. That's true, sweets. Yet they led us to believe that he was out there every day. And out of those 4 times, I believe 3 of them was photo ops. And 1 was a video op for a live stream. Yeah. Anyway. But the story changed. You know how him and Betty and Tony and everybody else been saying, oh, there's 5 CPS cases? Nope. There was 2. One of them, well, actually, I believe what Chris said. Chris has always said there was 3. And always said that when people find out what the reports really state, that they were going to have to backtrack on what all the things they've been putting out. And I've always believed that because Chris just never has a filter. He just tells it. He's, it just rang true the way he said it. And I knew there wasn't 5. And they're stating there was 2. And one of them had to do with Sebastian telling somebody at school about what happened to him back when he was littler in California. Which Katie properly handled everything. And it was a kid his same age. They were little. Katie and Sebastian were Seth's free ride. Well, that's who paid to move him to Tennessee so that he could be a part of his son's life, was Chris and Katie. And I dealt with fathers like him. You couldn't please them if you had to, because all they wanted was revenge because you left them. You divorced them. You moved on. He himself sat there on his own channel and said he would tell Sebastian when he was little, Mommy don't love me anymore. I would imagine he said a lot of things. And I would imagine co-parenting with him was a nightmare for Katie. And I think that's why Chris had to be the one to handle Seth. Look at the things he said about her in public. Imagine what he says to her or has done to her that we don't know about. He did make her pay for his car. And God forbid he'd get a job to take care of himself. He goes through jobs rather quickly. Money in the bank. Money in the bank. Money, money, money. Yeah. And look, that's not the first thought that comes to your head when your child's missing. I need to do GoFundMe. I mean, that was done so quick. So quick. Wow. After there was an agreement not to do one. Guess who's never asked for a dime, but has continued to do things to try to find their son. Chris and Katie? Yeah, never. Nope. I'd imagine you probably made, I would comfortably say 60 to 70K, if not more. Probably a lot more than that. I'm probably way underestimating it. Yeah. And what's weird is somebody else had to control what you got out of the money. That's what we were led to believe or told to believe. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Money and attention. Money and attention, in my opinion. Yeah. And look, their story has been because Katie did it because she wanted Chris. She wanted her man. And they wanted him out of the house. Well, there was an easy fix to that. Give him to his dad. I mean, Katie had been the full-time custodial parent for 15 years. Let Seth step up and take a couple years, That's an easy fix to that. Oh, well, Chris, they wanted him gone because of Chris's custody case. No, that's actually the worst thing. Because you all did try to use that against Chris when it had no bearing on Chris. But you tried. You tried to interfere with his custody with his daughter. You failed, but you still tried. And you still do. I don't know. Yeah. Number one motive, money. Number two, to hurt Katie. He sure has never got over it. I mean, he was so fixated on the California years that he couldn't seem to move past it. I mean, I don't know what happened. I don't. I have my opinion, which I've always said. I think that he went out to meet someone. I don't know who. I don't know, but that's just the way that he was gone. I just, and how fast. I think that he was lured away. I do. Do I think any of the parents are behind it? No. Though I've had my questions, of course. Because there is time frames where even Seth was unaccounted for, that he was allegedly sleeping in a car in a parking lot. That doesn't mean you're accounted for. Also, that doesn't mean that you couldn't have had someone else pick him up. So, same thing goes with Chris and Katie. You know what I mean? I've had the same thoughts. Of course, anybody would. But there's no proof to go either way. So there's no proof that any of them did anything. So I can't. Therefore, what are they guilty of? What do you want them arrested for? Yeah, it would be better for Sebastian than a stranger abduction. I know. I get it. I get it. The lesser of two evils. I get it. But, oh, my. And it's something. It was so obvious something was coming down the pipes. Just by the way things have been going. He stopped doing his monthly grip lives. Betty files his lawsuit. The rip with him and At Night Media, the Twitter page. Sorry, but that's what they are to me. It just, and they're all so happy. And I think they got the origination started about the lawsuits with that night in Nick, but not this avenue. This, I think, was the bug was dropped because of the litigation with that at night talked them all into. It was, now I'm wondering if even he's the one that talked them into that, because Tony's been in many lawsuits. We all know Bullhorn, and Seth was very happy to get involved in lawsuits immediately, and continues to. But, Seth, you might not want a big judgment. I was just thinking, the defendants in the RICO case, the injunction shit, they can choose how many plaintiffs have to pay them their damages, because they did win, and they will win in appeals. It's just the appeals court is taking ridiculously too long and really needs to stop and do their damn jobs and put out the damn decision already. And let's get these ladies paid, for Christ's sake. But anyway, you might not want a big judgment because there's going to be a lot of money owed in the RICO case. A lot. Punitive damages and all that stuff, So, court fees and attorney fees are given. And you might want to check that out because BJ just got hit with almost $10,000 bill. And I don't know if she has the financial supporters to outright pay that for her like she once did. She still has some heavy hitters, but I don't think they're that heavy. But anyway, because they could choose you as the one to be responsible for the biggest financial part of it because you have such a fat bank account. So you might want to, think about that option too there. And don't forget, and it seems like this attorney is no dumb attorney, but something tells me he's a settlement attorney. And I'm going to do some homework to find out because my guess is he's been involved in cases, the civil rights cases like this before. I still don't know what civil rights were violated of Seth. There was, okay, what civil rights? Yeah, that don't even make any sense. But I want to do my homework on this attorney. That's, I just want to see what he's about, what his practice is about. I haven't done stuff like that in a long time. I used to for my channel. I always researched everything. And I even showed receipts. I miss that so much. But I'm going to dig on this. I want to find out more about this. I'm going to, hopefully my friend that has Pacer will get me the filing. Oh, she always forgets though. She's so busy. And she lives in another state too. So, but she's so busy. And I hope she remembers to get it for me. And she's getting ready to go on vacation for 2 weeks. So I hope she remembers. And she's leaving Thursday night. I'm good. Well, unfortunately, pretty soon I won't have to be working. So, for a minute. So I'll have a little extra time. But yeah, I want to stay on this. I want to follow this. And I want to read. I want to go over the lawsuits. It's 21 pages between the two federal lawsuits. And I want to go over it. So if need be, I'll go on to Pacer and pay myself. My little tiny channel, though. I don't want to get you. How are you going to get me in trouble? The opinions of mods and subs, not always opinions of creator. Thank you. No, they're not. Thank you. We are all adults, so we are allowed to have our own opinions. Sure are. And I'm not going to get mad at you about it. Just, just be cool, be respectful, because it is YouTube. And YouTube's acting so wanky with the bots anymore. But please do have your own opinion. I like to hear different opinions on things. I like having conversations. I like to hear what other people think. far as I know, you're the first. I am? No way. Well, that'll get ignored like it always has when I've been the first on many things, like, Tony and his 3M girls, and Terry Lynn and her 911 shenanigans with the 911 calls, and Boyle and the cats, and 90 Day, all that drama. Yeah. I'm the one that knew that the fake neighbor on Crime Lines and Lies was no other than Mark W. And I showed the messages and stuff. But yeah, I'm the one that proved that they called the wrong, but were lying about they faked the phone call about Marvon McRae's passing. Yeah, I actually recorded the entire call from the time I dialed it to the time it was answered and hung up on. Sure did. That's how you record a call. You don't record just. I recorded everything. You heard the phone number being pressed on the phone. You heard the phone ringing. You heard the person answer. No, you do. You got, if you're going to do a phone call, you got to do it right. You can't edit the phone call. But anyway, yeah, I know. Well, that's cool to know. You don't know how. I don't go live every day. I'm going to start going live more though. Because I work and I have 2 littles. So, oh, well, thank you. Hit the like. Thank you. I appreciate that. And welcome. We're all misfits over here. Hey, Marcy, how are you? Seth knows where Sebastian is. A lot of people think that, though. A lot of people have that opinion. Kathy's hit the likes blocked. I can see them in phone, but not on TV. Oh, no. No. But right there in chat. I don't have a huge block list. Most of who's blocked are trolls and the 20 or 30 different rappers, because rapper has 20 or 30 different alts. But that's basically, there's not a whole bunch. Yeah. I see in chat, but their comments aren't coming on the TV. I don't know. I see them both on my phone or on my computer and on my tablet. I have never put YouTube on my TV because that'll make it too easy. But though now that I'm going to have more time, I'm going to start putting more time back into my channel and into doing some other things where I'm still a review channel. I will always do my call outs. Okay. I'm always going to do that. And I always have. But I'm also going to go back to actually doing the legwork and getting the receipts and showing them like I started out doing. But don't worry, the reviews will still be done. BJ's not off the hook. Neither is Betty or anybody else I review. By the way, I hear she's still acting like nothing happened with court. Interesting. And that's exactly what we said. What did we say the other night? I said she was going to go live late because even the day that they lost and they got their asses handed to them in the RICO case, she could not, and when everybody was told to lay low, stay silent, she couldn't do it. She couldn't go the 24 hours without going live. She went live at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I said the other night, I said, she's going to go live late. There's no way she's not going to go live. And she did. She did. And of course, acted like she had a great day. Nothing happened. Well, in her mind, in her little reality bubble that she lives in, that very distorted reality that her and Craigie Boy live in, with the fake Christianity and let's shove God and down your throat and let's have God pray that these people get hurt and die of cancer and everything else. Yeah, them people, that reality, that kind of reality. Look, I'm not saying that Granny's going to be able to do anything to get her money or that she will. I don't know. That's up to Granny. That's her business. But BJ doesn't think, she doesn't see it as consequences, because in her distorted reality, she's done nothing and it's all been a setup and it's all been all on her for no reason. And she's not going to have to pay it anyway. They're not going to do anything. So what? They said they get a judgment, but they're not going to do anything to get the money. That is because in her mind, she thinks they can't, because she's this poor victim and she's got all these kids and, he don't work and she don't work outside of YouTube. But yeah, no. One of these days, her distorted reality is going to rupture. It's going to burst wide open because someone's going to say, fuck this. Enough is enough. I want my money. I want to reimburse the people that donated to help me pay for these attorneys that I didn't need if it wasn't for you. And I deserve something for what you put me through. And she's going to see that there is ways to there's income tax returns, there's garnishments, and yes, she's a 1099. Yes, they can attach her YouTube wages. Yes, they can, because the PayPal, Cash App, and Venmo are direct links to her income, her channel. Yes, they can be also gone after. And I'm sure everything's in her name. I don't think she was smart enough to put it in Craig's name. But because of, her handles. But anyway. I just think that day's coming. And it's your fault. It's your fault. You don't have no one to blame but yourself for what position you're in. And one day, like I said, that distorted reality bubble is going to burst, and you're going to realize, and it's way too late. I mean, look, whether you think it's bullshit or not, you don't blow off court. It will never end well for you doing that. But okay. But she's going to take a minute to do her response, because she's going to be watching everybody else's responses to it. And she's going to watch Granny like a hawk, which she always watches Granny anyway, even though she denies it. We have seen it firsthand live in Granny's channel. This bitch, exactly what Granny will be talking about. She goes and posts a damn picture and then does a short video. We've heard her while we were reviewing her, watching QB, Granny, and stuff. You could hear them playing in the background. And then she'll say she only watched a little bit. No, she watched. The woman lives on YouTube. Her life is YouTube. The drama. Let's face it, the true crime just isn't there. Okay? And I knew last night she would totally ignore anything about court. And she made for another day or so. But she is going to respond. But BJ can be very calculating. Sometimes she's given too much credit. Sometimes she's not given enough. She is calculating and she is very manipulative. And she knows how to play her audience. She'll strike. And the woe is me will come rushing out. And so will the victimhood and the I'm broke, and this is, we've spent blah, 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 blah. Yeah, the same old schmill. It's her shtick. It's what she has done since before she even had a channel. Doesn't change. She just gets better at it and amplifies it all. And it's the greed has gotten so bad. It's just, it got out of control, as we've seen with the registry and stuff. And now, come on, the stupidity of it all. You're going to take diapers that you got off at Amazon and take them to Walmart and expect Walmart to exchange them for you, even though you didn't buy them there. You bought them from a whole different business, and the purchase was over 90 days. Then you turn around and finally understand you can't do that, but you're still going to try. I don't think you understood it. Then you said you're going to call Amazon and they're going to fix it. They're not going to fix it. You have 30 days to return something. It's not their fault that your greed overtook you. You knew you were getting way too many diapers at that size, but you can't tell people to stop. Your greed won't allow it. That's why you ended up with 2 and 3 of things. Because anyway, you could have asked for different sizes, something, but you didn't want to rock the boat because, look, you used people playing with your wish list so well, and it worked like a charm and a half, didn't it? Oh, it did. It did. That list got empty, Jack. And then some. The PayPals, the Cash App, the Venmos, the other gifts being sent. It just all continued to roll in to where there was so much that it overtook your office, is what you call it. And as of a couple weeks ago, you still hadn't even opened up half the shit. So you weren't even aware of things you were sent. Yeah. Okay. In my opinion, and mine only, I think BJ learned at a very young age to lie and manipulate. She damn well she can't. It was just another drive. Yeah. Yep. She says, hold on, and we'll go watch someone over here instead of using the bathroom. Get something to drink or take care. She uses, oh yeah, always. Yep. I've heard it said out here, and oh, never mind. But in my opinion, in her own way, she does exploit her kids. She does. And she uses Craig to her benefit. But the thing is especially when he's drinking a lot, which is pretty regular, apparently, allegedly, whatever you want to say, she can't, and sometimes her reality or in chat will get him so wound that she can't bring him back. Hey, Seawork, good to see you. Oh, thank you for coming in. You're never late. I appreciate you coming in. Yes, she is. She is, hit the like. And she will manipulate the situation with him till she can't control him. And then she gets to turn that around and use that as well. But that was Craig. I can't, you know what it's like. I can't, Yeah. BJ has a stick. She has a stick. She has a pattern. And you will see the pattern day after day after day. And there's so many things I could have said and reviewed about her, and I regret that I didn't. Some of it. Been trying to curb my internet time, but doesn't seem to be working. You're trying to curb yours, and I'm trying to find more time for mine, which is, pretty much solved here in about 2 weeks. So, but I want to stay on this lawsuit stuff here. Yeah, I definitely want to stay in this. I'm definitely, because, yeah, but I want to do some digging on these attorneys and see if there's any connection, see what their history is with their cases. You know, are they settlement attorneys? Are they trial? Will they go the 9 yards, you know, to retrial? Some attorneys are known as settlement attorneys, where, you know, the opposing attorneys know they're up for a settlement. That's, you know, they're known for taking settlements instead of proceeding through a long, drawn out, expensive trial. And honestly, Morgan & Morgan's one of the firms that's known for settlements. But that's not a Morgan & Morgan attorney. So I was just using that as an example. And there's other attorneys that say, oh, hell no, we want every penny, or, you know, we're going to trial. But I'm guessing with this, because of the dollar amounts being asked, settlement. They're going to go for a settlement if it proceeds. Mark my words. I hope I am wrong, but mark my words. I don't want to see it go anywhere. I want to see it get thrown out. Because it's messed up. The truth's not being told. It's totally different stories than what has been, excuse me, I got the hiccups, than what has been out here, out of Seth's own mouth, and his, excuse me, damn, I got the hiccups. Hold on. You know, it just, I want to follow this because, yeah, this is going to be, like I said, if need be, I'll just go on there. I think I can do it too. I think anybody can go there, and if you pay for the court records, you can get them. Uh-oh. Angela posted, let me see. I don't know. I haven't even. Let me look. Well, I knew BJ wasn't going to address anything last night. I knew that. And that's a given. Uh-oh. 30 minutes ago. So this is going to be pretty simple. I do hold Brittany J. responsible for her own mouth and her mods. One in particular has 24 hours to remove the post lying on my child, or I will start doxing one of Brittany's mods until it's removed, starting with Ivy League. Well, I thought Ivy League was doxed already, or was using fake pictures or something. I don't know. But who the hell is posting about Angela's child, and why would they do that? Why would you put a post out about someone's child? It says, try me. And to be perfectly clear, Moon went live bashing the victim of her son and lied on him. That's true. I simply put up the article so people could see the truth, not some warped version from a skank hoe that did prawn with her mom. I simply won't tolerate it. Have a good evening. Flip around and find out. So I'm guessing it's Moon. That's what the hell is the name of her? Is her channel called Moon the Loon? Or is it just called Moon? Look, I don't know. I don't watch her. She's fucking nuts. She's fucking beyond nuts. I'll watch that shit. There's no Moon the Loon. Is it Moonlight? Moon Clips? Moon Angel? Moon and Krama? Moonlight Peaks? I don't know. I've never watched her. Hey, Cash. I never cared much for moderators. Like it is just most of them. Oh, thank you so much, Cash. Did you watch the newest lawsuit that Seth Rogers filed for $25 million plus millions in punitive damages against Department of Children's Services, and the Sumner County Sheriff's Office, because they didn't do enough, and they didn't do anything, because they didn't find Sebastian. And the story changed a lot. Don't watch her with her some nasty stuff. Look, I've seen enough of her over at BJ's and on a couple other channels. No, thank you. Nope, nope, I don't do crazy. Thank you very much, Cash. I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. We got another goal, peeps. We did it. We got another goal. That imaginary goal, because I forgot to do one. And Kat is always so great about telling me. She always reminds me and gets on me about it. And I get started and I forget. Look. I'll remember next time. But we still have a pool boy fund and an equipment fund. And well, hell, I'm going to be like BJ. We got all these funds, okay? We got the pool boy fund, Rodney the Roach. We've got the upgrade that's badly needed equipment fund. Hell, let's just throw in the AC and heat units, and she throws in her window units. And the stove, didn't she throw in mattresses? I don't need them. Just the oven part. Wish you could just buy that, but you can't. Anyway, let me see what else. Garage door fixed. Oh heck, let's get some new flowers for some new plants to do some, fixing up outside, putting in some posies and stuff. Hell, let's put them on the list. What else? I'm trying to think. I don't know. We can come up with a list, I'm sure. How about a vacation? And a PlayStation 5? A staycation would be all right, because I have a sick dog and he can't go long distances. And I really do. He's old and he's sick. He's not, yeah. So it would have to be a staycation where I could keep my baby with me. I don't know. Roller skates? I don't know. Ice cream bars? I don't like ice cream bars, though. Unless they're the original chocolate scooter crunches. Socks? I don't know. We can just add anything to it. Why not? BJ does it. Oh my God, this phone. Cash. Oh, your phone too? Oh, thank you very much. Hit the like. Thank you so much. Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you. Guys, we got another one. The imaginary goal is going. We're going to have imaginary confetti. I don't know when because it's imaginary. But hey, it works. You can imagine all the confetti you want falling, man. Thank you very much. Okay, let's see let's just go down all the moons. One of them got to be her, right? Oh, this one's her. Yeah, that was pretty easy. She's the moon in Krama, or Casually Cruel. Huh? Oh, thank you, Hit the Like. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you for your support. That's so sweet. Thank you. Okay. Did you see her post about grannies? Win? It's always a win when you're paid 3 times 10K to get a ruling of 10K. Huh? How are you paid 3 times? No, you dumb shit. The exact attorney fees used is what the verdict was for. That's the judgment was for. You didn't pay 3 times, and neither did anybody else. I know what you're meaning, but you're wrong. Anyway, she's winning, y'all. The lawyer got another 10K. What choice did she have? Yeah, she's alone. What choice did she have, by the way? Okay. Maybe she took it down? I don't see it. Wait a minute. Who is Judy Lynn Fox? Oh my God! Why is she going at breaking chains? Ooh, I'm not reading this out. I'm sorry, peeps. You want to read it? You can go over there, but I am not reading that shit out. Wow. I wish I would have seen what I did. I would have never said the name. I actually like breaking chains. I think she's really cool. Oh, there's a post on here 3 days ago about Angela's daughter or Angela's kid, since she wants to play with mine. No one was playing with yours. You attacked the victim and the victim's family. Oh, she's talking about Angela's daughter, who's grown. She's saying so. Ooh, I'm not repeating this stuff. Oh, yikes. Moon got the nerve to be talking about somebody else's sexcapades? Are you kidding me? When did they post that? I know that they had separated ways with Seth, which when it happened, I said that something was up. I just didn't know what it was. I think it was behind all this. Because they wanted to control the narrative with the lawsuits. They didn't want these people branching out on their own, filing all these lawsuits for this money. Because that could also come back, that could not be good for them either. For what they were doing. And I think that it was Tony and Betty and Seth in cahoots for these lawsuits against the county, the sheriff, DCF. I think I do. I do. I do. And I thought that was my opinion, but because of what they responded or what they put out and how they handled the shit with BJ, and totally just, it's like they didn't even mention Tony once he filed his lawsuit, and not really. They kind of avoided that, and then they haven't really. Betty, she filed hers. I just don't think they were on board with any of this, and those three got together and kind of put them out of these also. Let's not share. It's more money in our pockets. Hey, little C, thank you for coming in. You could pull it up. I don't. What? Docs? Docs who? Where's the post at? Yeah, I'm not touching this stuff, but to post this about, I don't care if your child's grown or not. To post this about someone's child on your community post, get the hell out of here. That's a fucking nut job. No wonder Angela's pissed off. She has every right to be. 6 hours ago, as predicted, nonsense has made up a wild conspiracy about me. I am, however, disappointed it wasn't a bit more creative. Do better? Kramit's sister? Or what? She will tie me into some wild conspiracy. I'll be Kramit's sister by the end of the day or some wild shit. Oh, I don't know what that's about. Oh my God. Don't look, Angela, I don't know if you watch me or not, but there's a history you don't know about EKC and all them. Please don't go by it. Don't believe anything that bitch posts. Number one, you shouldn't even be sharing her channel or anything out about her. She's banned in the US because she stalked, harassed, and threatened and mangled a sub's life. She was instrumental in that, and she has a lifetime RO on her, and she's also facing contempt charges. There's a lot you don't know about that situation, and EKC is lying and full of shit. I was there for it all, and a lot of shit they did to me as well. There's a lot you don't know about that situation. You guys might be having that some wrong ways. Whoever y'all's out here playing it, I'm telling you, there's a whole side you don't know. I mean, y'all have your disagreements going on. I get that. But the shit that them idiots did to Nonsense and me and a few others, no. That they're lying, and they always did lie. It always is. Always is getting deep. Yeah, do it, Angela. Really, that's gross. I mean, look, what Moon did and was going after the victim and his family was fucking gross. From what I've seen of it out here on the streets, I don't watch her. I really, truly, that's one I stay the fuck away from. She's fucking crazy. I don't do crazy. The stuff she has she's put on her community post. How are posts like that even allowed up? How is she even allowed to have a channel? They took, look, whether you like Clue or not, they took clues, but here's somebody who makes Clue look like a Sunday school girl, you know? I mean, look at the stuff she does and the stuff she posts. But she's allowed to have a channel. They take Burnt Toast channel over a stupid picture of a dumpster. But this thing gets to have a channel. Make that make sense. And I'm not, look, like I said, you can feel how you want about any of them. I'm just using it as examples. This person is far worse. How does she get to have a channel? I mean, if you look at her community tab post, oh my God. And that's not even what she puts out here live. Just a few days so we can absorb it and everyone can respond. How you been doing, sweet? You been working a lot? It's good to see you, Dulcie. I mean, her live, she sits there and eats the whole time. And you know how she talks with her mouth full. And then they sit there and they're talking about somebody else eating food with the camera on while they're live. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? You got the nerve to say something about somebody else when you constantly talk with your mouth full, your lips are constantly smacking. What? Just like you're going to call somebody else out about going live or doing this or doing that. Bitch, look at what you do. And the people that sit there and lie for you blows my mind. Reality will sit there and witness it going on and still lie about it. But like I said, if not tonight, the next within, if not today, the next couple days, she will have her little plan all worked out on her manipulation for the stream. Because when somebody did try to ask her about court, they asked her how her day was, she's like, I had a great day. I guess she slept all day. But anyway. Where'd you go, Britt? Oh, Britt, we can see. Yeah, that one. Oh, that one. Yikes. But they keep saying we're jealous. What the hell are we jealous of? We tried to make a list. We didn't have one thing on the pros side. On the good side, in the good column, in the cons, we had tons of stuff. But we couldn't come up with anything about her or old Craigie boy. Nothing. Well, and I forgot to type. I meant to leave a comment on Angela's post and ask her if that picture is truly Craig, or if the hair was made to look like that with AI. You know what I mean? Or if that's just truly him, because I always said that he did combed over just by the way his hair looks. I always said he did a comb over. But whatever. At night. I don't know where there's Super Sweets. Where's the post at, Super Sweets? Is it something new on Twitter that he posted? Or is it on his community tab here on YouTube? Oh, yeah, little C wasn't here. Yeah, little C, Seth is suing Sumner County for $10 million plus millions in punitive damages. And he's suing the Tennessee Department of Children and Families. We call that here, but they call it what, DCS or DC, whatever. He's suing them for $15 million plus punitive damages in millions. Yeah. So he's suing for millions of dollars. Yeah. But it's not about the money. And a lot of the facts changed. There was only 2 CPS cases. One was about the incident the situation that happened when he was much younger and lived in California. And the other was about the incident Chris told everybody about, only they said he was hit in the stomach. But yeah, claiming that they didn't protect him and they didn't do enough to protect him and the cops didn't do enough to find him because he hasn't been found. And they violated civil rights. His civil rights. Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, the stuff in that. That's why I want to get the actual 21-page indictment lawsuit that was filed today. I want to get it and sit down and go over it with everybody. It's on Pacer. I've never done Pacer. I had a friend of mine would get stuff on Pacer for me if I wanted it, but she's getting ready to go on vacation, so I hope she don't forget. But if not, I'll figure out how to do it, and whatever they charge, I'll figure. I'm sure it can't be all that much. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what they charge. Yep. Those finger bangs were painted on. The way his hair styled, I always thought he'd get a comb over. But, that's why I want to ask. Because I've heard it said out here that I didn't spend any money on YouTube. What are you talking about? Oh, I forgot about that. Oh, it was $1.99. Okay. I was gonna say, I haven't even been on here. I haven't checked my Cash App and oh, okay. I know they better get me another PayPal card. Mine's about to expire here soon. And I did request a new one. You'd think they'd have sent it to me already. He is looking for attention. It's not about, nope, not at all. It's about money, money, money. If it's public record, you can get it. I'll see if I can find it for you. I think it's on Pacer, is where she gets everything. And, yeah, and I think that was where I was told it was available through, so I don't know. Wish I was going on vacation with her for 2 weeks. She's going to have a blast. She's going to Brazil. I would love to be going. Oh, I'll figure out how to get it because I'm going to sit down and go over it. Did you see the pic Angela put out? Which one? The one about that looked like Craig? Yeah, that's the one I wanted to leave a comment on and ask her if, ooh, is this the advice you got, BJ? I realize you have nothing but idiots over there, like Reality. Yeah, who said that she knows about lawsuits. She knows how to win them. How many have you been involved in, first off? And you know them so well, you were so fucking wrong. And if you knew them so well, why didn't you ever help your friend? You were wrong. Obvious you didn't tell your supporters the truth. Instead, you did a Discord call to distract them with the baby while you lied to them. Oh, I'm sure she uses that all the time. You better figure this out because you will pay. You can continue to embarrass yourself if you so choose. It's just more entertainment for us. And then the screenshot is a picture of voices saying it's not that hard to skirt a garnishment. That depends on the opposing attorney. The attorney who's seeking the garnishment depends on how much of a bulldog they want to be. Yeah, that picture, I want to know if that's him. Or, the picture was messed with. Because it's being said that that's not really him. And I think Chasing said it or said that's not Craig. Craig has a full head of hair, but I don't think Craig does have a full head of hair. By his hairstyle, it looks like a comb over. I'm asking her right now. I said, it's being said that this isn't Craig. Is this an altered pic? Is it AI? She'll answer me when she sees it. Probably not till morning. I think she's not usually on here at night. She usually does her post usually in the morning unless something breaks. Unless something comes up. Yeah, I know that looks just like him. But I know it's just being said that that's not him. He has a head full. I don't know if Chasing was joking or if she meant it. But that way there could be. It definitely, you say. I just wondering if you could just mess with the picture enough to to make his hair seem less than what it really is. But I think it's because he does a comb over. But it would appear that he has a little bit more on top, a little thicker because of the comb over. But that just could be what we're seeing because of, it is on video and it is very dark in their house. Right. Granny's recent win was for the declaratory judgment attorney fees, yes. And there's still more to come. Oh, I thought it was him. I mean, I think it's him. I mean, no shade. I mean, so what? You do come over. Big freaking deal. I mean, you're awful young. I mean, you're not even 40 and you're that bald. Yikes. Oof. Okay. I can't believe tomorrow's already Thursday. This week blew by. I got to get off my ass, get my daughter's party planned. She's going to be 11. I can't believe my babies are going to be 11 and going to be in middle school. I remember the first day of kindergarten. I cried like a baby. I sure did. When the bus left, I didn't do it in front. I didn't want her to see me upset. And they're so happy to go off going to school. I'm hoping she'll let me take her a lot to school. I like taking them to school. And guess what? They're not late. And they get there every day. Yeah. I also don't visit McDonald's drive-thru every morning for breakfast either. I actually make them breakfast. Yeah. It's a novel idea. Some should try it. It's really easy too. But I enjoy taking them to school. They just, sometimes they want to ride the bus with their friends. But I'd take them every day if they wanted me to. And this year they're going to be going to 2 different schools at 2 different times. Ugh, fun stuff. I'll have a 3rd grader and a 6th grader. Wild. I gotta be crazy. I'm almost 63 years old. What the hell am I doing with a 3rd grader and a 6th grader? Oh, I'm nuts. I'm nuts. Yeah, they're growing up on me whether I like it or not. Whether I like it or not. I want to redo her room for her. Because she's been bringing me, today they decided they were emptying their lobbies. What's what we call our stuffed animals. And they have so many, especially her. And I've been asking them to, give up some of them because it's just a lot. But she's once, I can tell she's maturing, and she doesn't want little girls' room anymore. She doesn't want the unicorns and the little girl unicorns and the pink bedroom, and she wants an older girl's bedroom. No more unicorns. So I'm going to get her a new bed set, and I want to paint her room. And she likes them. You can get them. They're octopuses and stuff. You can get them on Amazon cheap. They're them LED lights that you can hang. She loves that kind of stuff. And she's got one, but I want to get her a couple and put them across her window. And, it's just she's getting rid of all her baby or her little girl toys. And today she brought out a bunch of her stuffed animals. So out there in front of my garbage can, I put a thing over I used both of the cans, and they have sealed lids on them. But I put a piece of plastic over them, and I sat the stuffed animals up so people could see them. I didn't know if anybody would want one, but they look cute out there anyway. They're guarding the garbage. But if not, the trash man will take them in the morning. Because you can't donate stuffed animals. They don't sell them around here at their stores. Even if they look brand new. In which you can't blame them. But it does go fast. It really does. Yeah, I was just finishing potty training her and hadn't even started potty training him yet. And yeah. But we're still, I miss having so much time with them. And we played, I still do things with them, but I just don't have because of work, and I don't have the time. And now that they're in school all day either. But we always played games. We still play games, just not as often as we did because they're in school all day and then they have after school activities. But we still do family nights. And they're getting older. But it's cool. They'll go grab their tablets and that we all congregate in the same little area because they get so much time and then they shut off. But yeah. And we still watch movies and stuff together. Yes, I did. I sure did. I read the article and played the interview. Don't throw it away. The levies, oh, they're the ones that they don't. Yeah, I'm not kidding when I say she had a lot. And I even got those nets for in your room to hold them because she had so many that it would take. She has a queen size bed. Our bed was full. What are you doing, Sir Duke? Oh, your nail scratching. I gotta put a new pad in that for him to dig at. Be prepared when you. Oh, I've been through it many times. Yeah, I dread it. Oh, she already thinks she's grown. And oh, the fucking attitude starts early. Oh, I'm going to be counting to 1,000,000 a couple times. I know it. I'm going to be going out in that patio and cussing myself and counting. Because, oh, she already thinks she knows it all. But she is a big helper. I mean, and she doesn't mind. She actually likes helping around the house. I'm going to have to go back and listen. But who's suing who? Quick summary. Seth is suing Sumner County Sheriff's Office for $10 million plus millions in punitive damages. And he is suing Department of Children's Services for $15 million plus millions in punitive damages. Because they didn't do their job. They didn't protect Sebastian. And they didn't do enough. They didn't bring him home. But the story changed. But anyway. And it looks like he got, the lawyer looks like he has a really nice office suite. So, like I said, I want to do some info searching. I have a feeling, like I said, if it proceeds to the point where they know they're going to go to trial, I believe there's going to be settlement offer put out there. Just like that. Yeah, pretty much hope. Wait, don't answer that. I hope not, little C. I hope not. I hope it doesn't go anywhere. And hey, Bullhorn Betty's was as frivolous as you can get. And look at how long look at how hers proceeded, against QB. And, this is with a legit, that looks like not a small attorney by the looks of his office suite. I mean, those kind of suites are expensive. Yeah. Saying that his civil rights were violated, Hope. Who's that sound like? And when I'm reading you the article, when I was reading the article, so much of it was, oh my God, that's what Betty's been saying. That's what Betty, I'm telling you, it was Betty, Tony, and Seth that concocted these lawsuits. I don't believe that night had anything to do with these. And I think that's what pissed them off. Yeah, they have been. I'm hoping hers don't go anywhere either. But I don't know. Hers, there's going to be multiple, attorneys also. And that's why I want to see if there's any connection between any at all, be it Did they do a case together? Is it a practice that they refer to? You know, they'll do referrals. Or send clients over to. What, if any, connection do those two lawyers have? Because there's no way. It costs hundreds of thousands to take these kind of cases to trial. They're contingency cases. That means the attorney's got to upfront everything and eat the cost of everything, hoping they get a win. My guess is that's also going to be offered for a settlement if it goes anywhere. Well, I'm going to get the lawsuit, the 21-page filing of the two federal lawsuits, and we're going to go over them. Sweet said she'll try to help too. I know you can get. I think you can get them on Pacer. You can get them by using Pacer, but you might not even have to do that. We might be able, but I don't know because they're federal. I don't know. Sweets is going to help me with that too, and I'll get to it. So if anybody else wants to, let me know. Yeah. Well, they also changed it. There was not 5 CPS cases. There was 2. And one of them was about what happened in California when he was young. Him and his little playmate who was around the same age, you know. And the other one was supposedly Chris hit him in the stomach, but we've been told and seen Chris was open up front about the CPS coming in. It wasn't about that at all. But anyway, things change. Oh, thank you, Sweets. Sweets got it. Do I need to do any redaction? Oh, you guys want to start it? We can start it. I mean, everybody knows Chris and Katie's name, so I'm not doxing anybody. You know, they know Seth's name. I'm not doxing anybody. Attorneys are public. Y'all want to go over it? We can get started tonight for a little bit, and then we can pick it up and finish it tomorrow. Let's look at it. Thank you, Sweets. You're amazing. Thank you. Oh, what is this? Why did it do that? Well, this computer's weird. No. I just want my damn email. All right? Look. You're really pissing me off. Deep dive? No. That's not what I want. Oh. All right, let me try this again. For some reason, it went into a really weird tab. When all I wanted was this tab. There we go. That was a weird tab. Oh, mouse, you're really pissing me off. I'm so ready to throw you in the freaking swimming pool. I really am. That is still... Oh, I don't want mobile notifications. What are you talking about? Give me my damn inbox and stop playing with me, mouse. Piss me right off. Okay, here we go. My dog's dreaming. All right, let's look at some of this. Let me get rid of some of these open tabs. Oh, this mouse is really tricky because it's messed up. Oh. Seth's mother has been so quiet, and I'm sure that will be used against her if some things she has shared too. That's true. She really, she just like disappeared out of it, BHB filed in May. I didn't know this, but that's what I just sent you. Oh, BHBs? I'll get Seth. Okay. We'll go over that one later, too. We went over a little bit of Betty's, but not a lot of it. So I'm going to keep that. We can go over that another day, too. Oh. Yeah, we went over some of this. But even if we can't do it tonight, we can do it tomorrow. Give me a reason to come live tomorrow. But thank you for the one on Betty. I remember going over some of it, but I don't think we went over all of it. Remember the video of Seth with his mother? So strange, like he was circling her like a shark. At that first what do they call it? What did they call them? Get-togethers for Sebastian. When T-Bird brought the generic hot dogs and took the extras back, and yeah. Anyway. Those people. Oh, I'm going to. I definitely want to follow this. I want to follow this through. Definitely. I'm curious to see what, like I said, when I get done here tonight, I'm gonna do some digging and see what I can find on these lawyers and see if there's any connection in any way. I don't know. Then you're gonna say it's civil rights. Yeah, okay. Civil rights. Civil right my ass. I need a cough drop. Well, they're not cough drops, they're throat conceners, but yeah, there's one. Oh, honey, don't worry about it. I appreciate you doing anything. Thank you. You didn't have to do anything. And I know if it's gettable, you'll get it. And I'll have it. Oh, I took a drink and went down the wrong way. What surprises me is that he didn't have a lot of support by family or his friends. I believe it's because he has gone in the wrong direction. Yeah, the family's totally gone. I mean, his mom disappeared rather quickly. Including that RICO case would be used against him. Yes, it will be. Sure will be. And they can even though it didn't go anywhere, they can even bring up the lawsuit that lady put against that. Reeks of bullhorns. It does. It really does. I'm telling you, that's what Tony, Seth, and Betty were working on. And I think that Nick lit the fuse for the lawsuits. But we all know that Tony has a history of them, Betty. And, well, we've seen the other behavior. Am I surprised that it looks like the caliber of attorney he got? Yes. It makes me mad. makes me angry. And the only reason why was because of the amount of money. When you're going for huge settlements like that, big bucks like that, they count on settling. And they settle for a good chunk of change. But lawyers will do that because the money's in it. But they won't do something. Never mind. Yeah, that's all going to come back to bite him, I think. And so was all of Seth's interviews and all of Seth's YouTube panels. Just the meet and greets where they went out eating and drinking and went back to the Airbnb and partied all night. Remember, I busted that out on a live where Betty's traveling sidekick let it slip that they sat there and drank the rest of Seth's bottle. How they were partying that night. Yeah. There's a lot going to come back to bite him. And also his accusations about not having contact with law enforcement. There's also things to the contrary out. Is it something that he said off and on? Yeah. But what he was failing to tell you was his actions and his behavior. But remember when he had that meeting that supposedly Tony was a big part of with the sheriff and how everything was good? They even gave the sheriff's department an award at the first or at the big church service, you know, when the wrong prayer was said. But yeah, there's a lot that can be used against them. Like I said, if they hopefully the county and the state has lawyers that's actually gonna put work into it, because it's out here. It's not hard to find, and they should absolutely been checking into the RICO case and everything else. Absolutely. It could be. I don't know. Judges are fickle, though. I've always said that. Judges are fickle. I'm just hoping it doesn't go anywhere because of what it's opening up. If anybody has the right to sue or should be able to sue for not enough being done, it's all the other people whose family members are missing. They got none of that stuff from law enforcement. They didn't have 7 agencies. They didn't have all them searches. They didn't have none of that. And that could be one of the reasons that the county and the state don't settle, because they know what door it's opening, the doors it's going to open. Yeah. If it was just about changing policy and trying to force them into doing I don't know what in Sebastian's case, because I mean, there wouldn't be such huge dollar amounts. It wouldn't be about money. It would be strictly about that. But no, they had to go huge. And that's a lot of money. They're thinking millions in punitive damages. You could be looking at 50 million here by the time it's all said and done. That's insane. That's insane. But is the county and state going to say, fuck it, let's just make this go away? But I don't think they would make it go. I don't think it would. I don't get the vibe. I know Seth wouldn't keep his mouth shut. He'd have to let everybody know, yeah, I beat them. They paid me. I beat them. Mm-mm. Yeah, everybody could then. Exactly, everybody could. And I'm sure that none of the families of the missing feel that law enforcement did enough. I know we didn't when our nephew was missing. Granted, they didn't do anything at all. But, I'm sure they all feel that way. He can't sue them because they didn't find Sebastian. And then at the end of it, say his civil rights were violated. How was his civil rights violated? But a lot of the stuff that was said just mimicked Bullhorn Betty and the stuff she's been spewing. But again, that's just my opinion. And hopefully tomorrow I will have the lawsuit to go over it with you. I'm sure somebody will have it, if not me, by tomorrow going over it. But it was nice to know that I'm actually one of the first ones talking about it. It would open the floodgates for families of missing children all over Tennessee. But yes. And look, let's be honest here. At the time, there was 43 others missing, persons of color, most of them. They didn't get anything like that. They didn't get any of the attention that Sebastian's case got. None of them. They should be the ones suing because truly nothing was done. Nowhere near enough was done to even try to find their loved ones. Heck, some of them didn't even have decent flyers. Are you kidding me? Between her big mouth put a stop. Yeah. Seth's own actions and behavior ruined his relationship with law enforcement. That's what like I said, I don't think that attorney really wants anything more than a payday. Because if he truly has done his homework, then he knows how much chaos and stuff Seth has been instrumental in, and the frivolous lawsuits and stuff. It's got to be about, because they're asking for section is so, oh my God, they're asking for huge amounts. He's banking on there being a settlement. Layla didn't get much in her case either. There is an update on her case. In Layla's? What was the update? I didn't think there was. What was the update in her case? Well, he can't talk about it, or he shouldn't be able to. Hey, Donna. I don't think he has. I'm not a lawyer, and I took business law because I had to. It was part of the degree program I was taking. But I don't see how he does. But who knows? Stranger things have happened, and look, I don't know. It's all about money, though. That's for sure. Oh yeah, well, I believe that's always been the reason, the thing with Layla, and yeah. It is a lot. It is ridiculous what they're asking for. Yeah, I always felt that way. I think that, unfortunately, substances sometimes win out. And sometimes you get a bad batch or you do too much. And I've always felt that's what happened with her. But it wasn't my place to put it out here. I'm not Bullhorn Betty. Betty wants to believe it was, foul play and all this stuff and murmur. No, I don't. Never did. It's still an open and ongoing investigation. The court will be jumping the gun to roll in this case when the case is still going on. That's true. That's a sticky situation. And why would he want intimate details of the investigation released to the public? You think she was? Oh, I don't. What evidence do they have or proof do they think that she was? Wasn't that her cousin who was the one who was in a DV situation? And what have I missed about it that they think she was? I mean, I'm waiting for little C to type. So law enforcement has stated they believe she was murmured. I'm waiting to see what little C types. He has been a sponge his entire life. And who did they think would do something like that to her? Was it one of her, let's face it, she didn't hang around the best kind of people. They were all in the throes of addiction and doing whatever needed to be done, It is about similar, like another girl. Yeah, Holland Snap. Wasn't that her cousin or something? Oh, sweet, you didn't have to go to all that trouble. Oh my gosh. That's okay. Why don't we do it together tomorrow? You come up on panel and we can take turns reading this stuff. And we'll do it together tomorrow. That would be great. I'm sorry if that really happened to her, little C. Oh my God, that's awful. But I know there was that suspicion with Holland Snap. No, they weren't related. But they knew each other or something. Yeah, somehow they were tied together. On my phone, you can't type until the live is done. What? Oh yeah, you can't hype a video till we're done. We end it, and then it'll come up like when you hit the like button, it'll say hype. Like there'll be a little thing that says hype. If you haven't hyped, you're allowed, I don't know what, like 3 times a week to hype a video or something like that. They know exactly what happened to Holland. Yeah, wasn't that about her boyfriend or something? Yeah, after we are finished. Yeah. But there was more to Layla. I want to see that. That's awful. That is awful. I thought she just, the lifestyle she chose, but that's, no one deserves that. That's awful. So they have a suspect then? Yeah, I don't know why you can't do it till afterwards. YouTube's weird. I'm waiting to see if they have a suspect in. No, the guy, Layla's mom. No, the guy Layla's mom cousin knew. That's awful. That's what happened to that girl. And I hope and pray they find her remains and she can be laid to rest properly. That's awful. Ugh. And I hope they get whoever did it. If someone did do it, I hope they get it and they have to pay for the rest of their lives. It was a relative of Layla's that was a suspect in Holland. Yes. Yes. In the severe beating, yes. Yes, for Holland they have, but not Layla. They aren't sure yet on Layla. And law enforcement has put this out? I'm going to look it up. And that's another thing. They say that Tennessee never does anything about the people that are missing. But yet, even though the situation with Layla, law enforcement still was there. We couldn't get anything out of them. Honestly, an officer took the report to sit. He made one phone call. Only because I called his cell phone and he called me back. But when they found his remains a year later, then they wanted to talk. Yeah, okay. Where were you a year ago? I know that they said that they believe she's deceased, but I didn't know that they were considering it foul play. Or, murmur. That's awful. It does try. It's a lot to work out the kinks of it. Yeah, I know. And when they're grown, adults are allowed to, people are allowed to just walk away and not reach out to you. It's not a crime. But all the red flags were there in his case. And, they didn't care. He was 23, and to them, he was just another problem for the system. He unfortunately had addiction issues and, never did any major crime or anything like that, but, little penny stuff, but, was what it was. And a year later, he was found right around the corner in the garage where they were supposed to have already checked several times and didn't. But anyway. It doesn't surprise you? Hollywood wasn't into drugs? Who's Hollywood? No, I'm talking about Layla. I think Tony came up with this plan quite a while ago, and Betty and Seth are giving it a go. I think up until Tony passed, this just didn't happen in a couple weeks. This attorney has been around for a few months believe me, this attorney's he's not doing this blindly. Holland, yeah, I know Holland wasn't her. I believe hers was a whole different situation. Betty's the one that always tried to make the two, to connect the two and make them similar. But Holland wasn't out there like, you know. Yes, Layla did. Yeah, I know. That's awful, though. That's what happened to her. That's awful. Mm. And just like around here, you know, there's places you can go where there's so many gators. A lot of people go missing here and are never found again. That's easy to do around here in Florida. It really is if you think about it. You know where to go. Oh, it always has been. What am I missing? I think Tony came, yeah. Oh, yeah, I do too. I think this is something they were working on. You know, Tony's death was like my husband's. He wasn't, from what I understand, he wasn't sick or anything, and it was unexpected. And, you know, one minute they're there and the next they're not. Never thought that day I'd be, yeah. Yeah. I never thought the last time I'd see him alive would be. Oh. Anyway. So the plans for is hopefully Sweets will come up and join me tomorrow. But regardless, you know, if she does it, you know, that'd be nice. But the plans are for tomorrow. If I get them to go over Seth's lawsuit filing, I'm sure by then 100 channels will be going over it. And that's okay, because we all do it differently. I just don't want to, you know, sometimes things get talked about so much that people just don't want to hear it anymore. You know what I mean? You've heard it so many times. Even though everybody does it their own way and has different things they point out, you know? That's why she was so pissed with us that he separated the two instead of lumping them together. They weren't together, but Betty, she still to this day does that. Seth can tell the judge how he took a nap when he got to the house. Yeah. I don't think they'll comment publicly because they're in the middle of their own lawsuit with Bullhorn. Stuff like that never happens out here, hit the like, and that's okay. I pretty much say to myself most times anymore, have for months and months. It's better that way sometimes. There's just sometimes things get to be too much. Nope, nothing. And I actually checked to see if anything was added to anything new in it, you know, about Betty. No, nothing with Tennessee, with her appeals, which is really strange, huh? She's not even out of appeals court and she filed lawsuits. But I do know that restraining or protection orders are still active, and all 4 were pushed back down to the lower courts and reopened so they could be extended, you know. That's all right. That's better just to... You might get yelled at. You got to be careful what you're saying in people's chats. Thank you, though. You're so sweet. Thank you. Well, she didn't raise enough. But she wanted 30,000. She barely raised 5. And I never looked at her attorney either. But now that this is going on, I'm definitely going to, because I just want to see if there's any connection between the attorneys in any way. Oh, you're getting them now? All right, we can do it tomorrow. All right, that's awesome. Sweet, you are awesome. You want me to call you this late? I think appeals court said nope and just bounced them back to lower court. And she's not... that could be. That could be. I don't think she had a reason to appeal, just like I don't believe in her lawsuit because I don't think Betty's rights were violated. But, I'm not a judge. I'm not a lawyer. So I've seen how Betty acts, and I've seen the things Betty did. They haven't. My dog is snoring up a storm. I wish I could sleep like that. I really wish I could sleep like that. My cat, too. It's my bed, and I'm on the edge, in the corner, the edge of the bed. And this is the California King bed, mind you. And my dog and my cat have the entire bed. I have a big blankie that's theirs that I lay down, and then I'll move them over and roll their blankie over because my dog gets bathed every week. My cat gets bathed a lot. But my dog goes outside, my cat don't. I mean, he goes out in the patio, but he can't get out. And once in a while, I take him for a walk in the yard. He is leash trained. But, yeah, I know. I leash train all my cats. It's just a thing. But I don't want to sleep in dog hair or, I don't know. I'm weird. So they have to have their own blankie. And they can't have my blankie. But I get very little room. I get the edge of the bed. I am not kidding you. I'm literally sitting on the very top corner on the edge of the bed. Oh. You just woke up? Let me find your number. Let me get a pen. Oh my God, quit snoring, dog. He's snoring so loud. But it's not me because I'm talking to you. So if it was me, I sure as hell wouldn't be talking to you while I'm snoring. I'm not a BJ. I can't pull that off. Oops. Anyway. No, I want them all. No, you sent it to me on the other one. I think. Wait a minute. I think you sent it to me under the other one. Yeah, there it is. Okay, I got it. I'm not repeating it because I don't want to say it out loud. So I'm writing it down. Anyway. But I'm going to get off here because I've been on here a long time. Thank you for hanging with me tonight. Thank you for all the imaginary golds and the gifted memberships. I appreciate that. I really appreciate it. It's been a slow month, Anyway, my dog and I aren't speaking at the moment. My kids are grown and gone. I work for myself. I make my own hours. Oh, God, that would be nice. working, being able to make my own hours. That's the problem I'm having right now. And I really like my job, but they need me to do what I can't do. So, yeah. Well, going to listen to the interview, and I will rewatch. All right. Well, thank you for coming in, Little C. It was really good to see you. Tomorrow we're going to go over the court docs. We're going to go over the lawsuit filed. Well, thank you, Hit the Like. Thank you for hanging out, and I hope you do come back. It was nice chatting with you. All right, Misfits. Mods, thank you for a great night, as always. But, hey, look, I don't know if you want to go on the YouTube streets. You don't want to, go where you want to go. Just remember to have some fun. It's YouTube, after all. But just be the best misfit you can be. That's it. You have some fun. Smile a little bit. I don't know. Do whatever makes you happy. All right, Misfits. See you. Bye. Oh, don't forget to do all that YouTube stuff. The like, the share, the sub up, the members, and the hype afterwards. Drop a comment. Any engagement that helps. Yeah, all that YouTube stuff. Yeah, you know the routine. All right, Misfits. I'll see you tomorrow for sure. See you. Bye. See you. Bye, Misfits.